There we go. All right.
All right, we're laughing. Hey, boys. So, some of y'all may know Pieter from a previous episode or seen him online. Yeah, no, yeah. What's your story, man? You're here in Hawaii, of course.
Yeah. The last stream, I was here for 3 months. A few months have passed. I'm up to 8 months here now, and not looking at moving anytime soon.
Right. So you'd say you enjoy Hawaii overall.
Oh yeah. Much happier here. Like I've mentioned before, the salary is a little bit less, but everything else is cheap. So
Victory, huh? Well, good. And I tell you guys what, we're really dialing in on food here. Now, I'm not alone, and my opinions are not unique. Pretty much everybody who comes here will say the food here is absolutely amazing. Amazing. This is literally one of the best countries on earth for food. And it's not just my opinion. That's the opinion of some of the top chefs on earth. It's some of the opinion of the top travel people who just travel and eat food all day long. Yep, they'll tell you the same thing. But yeah, would you agree with that?
I was telling you yesterday that since coming to Hawaii, I've never had anything bad, anything that tasted bad. Sure, things that I didn't like, but nothing that was bad. Everything was good.
Right on. And I think a big thing that's worth underscoring here too is that modern food, so to speak, like having your fried chicken or packaged sandwiches or cans of food, ready-made dinners, like TV dinners, for example, do not exist here. No way. I mean, it didn't really occur to me until I just put that to words right now. But yeah, when I went back to America, I look at the ready-made food aisle, like the frozen aisle, and I'm like, what the hell? I forgot. Like.
Food. Here you've got fish and tomatoes.
Hey, yeah.
You might find some imported. But
yeah, which is good, by the way, and they take that seriously. But the reason I bring that up is that because everything is so damn fresh in Vietnam. So fresh is going to be a big one we're going to talk about here. Yeah. And available. That means convenient everywhere. And of course, cheap. I mean, just absurdly cheap. So I think a good starting point right here would be, why did McDonald's fail in Vietnam? Okay, and I fail with air quotes. It's not ubiquitous like it is in America, and sure, there's a couple of places here and there in a major city. I think maybe 4 branches total. Will they be here more in the future? Who knows? But in general, they failed miserably because, typically speaking, food in America, let's just say, McDonald's can compete quite well because in a lot of areas, perhaps it's the fastest option, drive-through. Yeah, and it's convenient. Yeah, and price-wise, it's not too bad compared to going to other restaurants or whatnot. So the price isn't too shabby for as low as $1 off the dollar menu, but maybe $8, you could certainly be all set. And the quality of McDonald's is actually not bad. It's fun to make fun of them and all that, but they do a pretty damn good job, all things considered, compared to nothing or compared to gas station food or something. So again, in America, McDonald's can win in a lot of these categories, and they're competing with other drive-through restaurants in America, and they can do the drive-through thing really, really well. Yeah. More power to them, okay? But these 4 things are not true in Vietnam. Compared to what? Yeah. And Okay, we'll turn this up a little bit. Thank you, by the way, Mike. But yeah, for example, where to start? Okay, let's start with the speed thing. The speed. Yep. So McDonald's, let's just say best case scenario, I don't know, 5 minutes. Would that be reasonable? But from the time it takes you to say what you want, to the time it's in your hands, paid, and you're driving away. 5 minutes, it would be reasonable, would you say?
If it's not busy, yeah.
Sure. Now, what's been your experience in contrast?
Oh, instant food. If you get street food like a bowl of soup or noodles or something, you sit down, you ask for it, she puts it in the bowl and gives it to you. Pretty instant, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be reasonable to say within 30 seconds of your order, your food's in your hands. And anyway, here, by the way, thank you guys. We'll sort this out. We'll do one of these. There we go. And there we go.
Is that better?
Hopefully so. And I got a booming voice, so yeah, we'll find out. But yeah, so as an example, if you really, yeah, the wait times. And that's to say nothing of restaurants. We're just talking about fast food only. Yeah. So reasonably speaking, like a McDonald's in Vietnam here, well, most of the time it's going to be inside of a shopping center or something like that. So
yeah, so it's going to take 5, 10 minutes to go in and off the bike and go up three stories and yeah.
And then when you do order, you get a number, and then you got to stand there and wait. Which is fine and expected in our, American culture, let's just say, or Western culture. But in Vietnam, people are like, the time it takes me to park my bike, I already have food from another 100 people that I passed on the way here. It does not make sense. And then, driving across town in order to go to McDonald's kind of makes sense in America a little bit. But in Vietnam, no way. Again, convenience and time just to get there. When, okay, let me ask you. Let's just pick an average day between you. What would be a normal place you would go to work? Like at the Huda?
Yeah, university.
Okay.
It's about 3 kilometers.
Okay, 3 kilometers. All right. So 2 miles-ish. So how many places would you pass between your house and your university there? Just throw out numbers.
If I have to take a stab. Places selling food?
Yeah, food options.
Probably 100 or more.
Mm-hmm. Or more.
Yeah.
That's right on the street, only on your side of the street that you could get without getting off of your motorbike.
Yeah, you just stop.
Yep. And most of the time, you don't even have to look or order off a menu. You don't have to be seated.
Well, most kind of places.
Mm-hmm.
You just make something. So why else would you stop there?
Right. So to zoom in a little bit, let's pick an example. Yesterday, when we went for our good old favorite, Bun Hen. Okay. So there's a lot to unpack with this one, but I think this is a good metaphor for Vietnamese food in general. To give a little more of an explanation, Bun Hen is an example of a signature dish that they have only in Hue City. The bun refers to the white noodles, and like imagine in English we would say like angel hair pasta, that sort of thin, but of course made from rice, go figure, and white. How about that? So that's our bun, and then the hen part refers to these little baby clams. Sometimes they get translated as mussels, if you will. But either way, this signature dish has about as many ingredients as a damn like Bloody Mary, does in America. I think the good places have like 17 ingredients. So it's not just noodles, clam, eat it. No. Now, okay, so with when it comes to Bun Hen, first of all, what's your overall opinion on Bun Hen?
Yes. Yeah. Right. I do prefer the meat hen, which is a different kind of noodle. It's still the same dish, but meat hen is like instant noodles, kind of egg noodle kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If we think like ramen noodles, if you think that the squiggly, yep, you're doing pretty good. Yep, and that's my favorite as well. Good call. So literally, instead of having a menu in this case, they'll just have a sign that says "Bun me come," and then hen following it. Great. You don't need any further information than that, and their menu is never more complex than that. And you could dial it in a little bit while you're there, of course. For example, no peanuts, extra pork cracklings, no cilantro, extra spicy. Sure, right? Because every bowl is made custom, and there is no write it down on paper, hand it to the waitress. The waitress puts it on the order rack. Then the order rack goes around to the chef. The chef looks at the paper, then gets to work, then matches the order. No. You talk to the woman who's sitting on the little plastic chair. Okay. By the time you're done talking, it's in your hands. Yes, they do to-go things as well. Same concept. If you want it to go, mangbe. That's sweet. Well, they just take a plastic bag and all the ingredients you want. Great. Then they take a little mini bag and fill it with a spoonful of broth. And then rubber band that, toss that in, and then you've got the whole shooting match sitting inside of a plastic bag, ready to go with a little handle on it. I mean, less than 60 seconds.
Back home, I would not put soup in a plastic bag.
Right, I didn't think of that. Yeah. I've never saw that before. Yeah.
It's gonna leak.
Yeah. Maybe because it has corners or something. I don't know.
And you always get soup in the bag.
Right. And sometimes it's bound so tight, it's like a sphere. Yeah. It's like
hot.
Oh yeah. Well, and to be fair, I mean, that's what they do all goddamn day. They need a bag that can hold soup. Like, yeah, you're right. I guess we just don't need it. Even a Ziploc bag wouldn't do the job in America. Not like these bags. But anyway, this is a good example of of a great a great style of food. Now, to go a little further, what makes this handy for the Vietnamese seller is that really they only need to keep the broth hot. Really. Other than that, the rest of the ingredients are all room temperature, effectively. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yep. So by only having to keep the broth hot with a few sticks, of wood, that actually makes it easier than having to individually cook each individual dish. As a result, they can make them a hell of a lot faster. You don't have to wait for something to come to a boil, or you don't have to wait for the egg to fry, let's just say. It's just as fast as your hands can move, you can bang these out. And so...
And then she starts with the ingredients. And then flops on the noodles.
Oh man, I just ate, but I'm still hungry. Yeah. So the cool thing is this is really convenient for the seller and really convenient for the buyer. Most people have generally a pretty consistent idea of what it's generally going to taste like and what's going to be in it and so forth. Now, another really important idea here is the quality and the competition. The quality and the competition. Because, okay, let's just, again, pick this example. You're at 2 miles, 3 kilometers between your house and that university. What would be some common food items that they would have? For example, would you find Bun Hen? Definitely. Right. Would it be reasonable to say you could find at least 5 people selling Bun Hen in that path?
Yeah. Some of them probably next to each other.
Oh yeah, 2 Bun Hen places next to each other. Okay. Yeah, it sounds bizarre, but yeah. So what really happens here is this ridiculous amount of competition. So,
As a result, if your broth or something is not good, well, you better step up your game because there's another place next door that's better.
that's right. That's right. A lot of people like me are regulars out here. I'll get Bun Hen every day. If I find a spot where she nails it and I am super happy, and yes, that's absolutely true outside of my door here, some of the best in the city, I'll be there every day until I die. Yep. And when she's not there, I'm disappointed. With that said, if I am traveling around and I go to one place and I get one bad bowl, if she recycled the hen from yesterday,
Yeah, you can smell it.
yep. If her veggies are starting to brown just and oxidize just a little bit, if her broth is not clear, it's starting to get cloudy. If one thing is just a little off, I'm going to know for sure, sir, for sure. And on top of that, I will never be back ever again. And right,
Yeah, I usually don't even finish it. If I take a bite and I say this is old hen or something, I just get up, pay for my bowl, and leave.
Yep. That's a slap in the face, mind you. You know, I got to admit, I did that once.
Yeah, I don't do it often.
Yeah. I only did that once, but part of it was I was worried about the safety of it all. Like it smelled.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't want to half-ass it. Yeah. With that said, after I paid for it and walked off, and I got 3 bowls, I paid for all 3 and didn't touch any of the 3, and then walked off. Ooh, she shut down her store after that. Maybe related, maybe not, but that I'm sure she cried herself to sleep. Because this young gal who's this teenager trying to get in the Bun Hen world, honey, you're competing with the best of the best. You're competing with 50 years of experience by some of these gals. And these gals who are like cutthroat competition with each other for 50 years, and you're just going to walk in and nail it. It's tough. You better be good. And while we're on the topic, if one person were to magically decide to charge an extra 15 cents more than anybody else, not going to happen. Not going to happen. If I can get it for $7,000 there, $7,000 there, $7,000 there, and it's $12,000 right here, it better be banging. It better be huge. This better be the best I've ever tried. Yeah. But otherwise, you're out of business. So a lot of these people, when they're competing on the streets, if they are not the best at the best price and the fastest, excellent service, if they're not top of the line, they're out of business. Yeah. You know, they're divorced, broke, and starving to death, and a failure in life. So that kind of competition, it's hard to replicate that. And so you don't see that as often in a lot of different places. However, with that said, in South Africa, barbecuing and braai in restaurants there, maybe it would be with a lot of the specialties in South Africa, same idea. You better be the best if you're.
Yeah. South African sausage both, and it's not up to my standards, and I'll just better buy it again. Yeah.
Probably have something to say. Yeah.
Go back. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's safe to say with a lot of the street food out here, because of this ridiculous competition, you're getting the best. You really are. The little tiny chairs, the ubiquitous food.
Smaller, better.
Yeah, exactly right. So anyway, the street food in general and the competition is amazing, and the serving one item only is money. Yep. There's the bunkua, a crab soup. I went all the way out to Balop, right north or right by Dalat. So it's going to be in the south side. Yep. There's one restaurant, they serve soup. They have big and small. That's it. No menu. And the name of their restaurant, Bunkua, crab soup. That's it. And but everybody knows They are the best that you can get, arguably the best in the country. Their broth is amazing, and they know exactly what they're doing. And yes, it's all secret, and so forth. They have no employees. It's a husband and wife only, and that's it. And yes, that was the finest bowl of crab soup I've ever had. And I think it was only like 40,000. So what is that, $3 American? Oh, yeah. For the big one? Oh, yeah. The smaller the menu, the better the food in a lot of cases.
What also you how many people are there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you walk past an empty ass restaurant, don't go in.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
If a lady next to the road telling Bun Hen if she's packed, it's good food.
Right.
Because I've seen it where you have two, for example, Bun Hen stands, and the one is packed, and the other one there's no one sitting there, and they're both the same price, same ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's doing something wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great way of looking at it. There's a quantity of people. And yeah, what could you say about prices real quick? About food prices in general, and what trends have you seen?
The food prices, if you're eating like Bun Hen for breakfast, that'll be 7,000. It's super cheap. And it's the same with the other breakfast. If you have a banh mi opla, which is just fried egg with a baguette, bread, that's also 7,000. So you got a lot of options for less than $50, which is great. Yeah, you can have some soup, you can have noodles, you can have some bread, you can have egg.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a opla sandwich, banh mi opla.
Oh yeah.
That's like I said, 7,000 Bun Hen. You can add beef to that for another 3,000 dong.
So yeah, like a beef and egg banh mi sandwich. Well, of course, made fresh right there. I mean, obviously. But yeah, either way, that kind of a thing. Yeah, 10,000. So American dollars was that 45 cents. You're out. Yeah. And by the way, you found a terrific banh mi place even cheaper, isn't that right?
Yeah.
School.
Yeah. 6,000. 6,000 dong.
25 cents. Yeah.
With an egg.
Yeah. If I recall, that place was next to a school.
Yeah.
Right
next to the school.
Right. Yep. Hidden little secret. Find the food places next to a little high school or elementary school or whatnot. Oh yeah, because a lot of times the cheapest food wins out there. So, and sometimes they might even have little mini sandwiches, or you're getting the best price, period. Because those folks are super price conscious. On top of being
one thing to note though is they super strict with what you eat when. Like you can't buy Bun Hen 3 p.m. Yeah, that's a breakfast. If you're gonna buy Bun Hen somewhere at 3 p.m., it's probably not the best Bun Hen.
Sure.
Like for example, in the morning you can't walk 10 feet without seeing a banh mi stand. But do it until 11 a.m. and you maybe find one on every street.
Sure.
And even the Bun Hen ladies, they only stay open until 10-ish?
Yeah, 11-ish tops. Yep.
So they'll stay open until 10, 11, or until
they AM.
Or until they sell out.
Right. Which is tricky to do, but it does happen, yes. So yeah, what this means, saying the exact same thing a different way. If you drive up and down like 1 kilometer of road here in Vietnam, and you drive on that 1 kilometer sometime between, like, let's say at 5:30 or 6 a.m., well, it's going to be filled with all kinds of food options, but they're going to be a little more Bun Hen, perhaps opla, and yes, you're going to have your bun ball, you're going to have your soup in the morning, of course. And you're among other really good morning options. There's some more morning ones. Skillet places. Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. This is the black skillet thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It comes out so fried.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's basically. Oh, do you? If you imagine this size with a handle on it, and then or little pinchers, they break a fresh egg on it, put some raw meat on there, put some cilantro, this and that, or green onions, and then their little sauces and so forth. It's on there 60 seconds. It's popped, and then on a piece of wood in front of you, and then it's still yeah, buddy. And then it's pretty much cooked by the time you get your bread torn and you're dipping. So yeah, again, if you're traveling on a 1 kilometer road here in the morning, you're going to see all kinds of places. Now, if you were to drive that same strip of road at 12 at noon, it's going to look different. Probably every single place will be different. Sweet, you know? Yeah. Right. And so now you'll have maybe some more soups. Maybe you'll have like chow. Like porridge, something like that going on. Which would be like broken rice pieces made into like a stew, if you will.
Yeah.
We don't really have an English word for it. Porridge is my best guess. Would you go with that? Kind of, yeah. Right. But either way, that would be an example of various foods you can find while around at noon. Once again, leave, come back. Come back at about 4 to 5 p.m. Oh, she's going to be stocked, the street, I mean, because that's people coming home from work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the rice signs. Bun Hen.
Oh, yeah, the combinyan. Yeah, that's, we'll got to make a point to, okay. So yeah, we'll make a point to get to that. But yeah, the combinyan, it would be a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But then you fast forward until like 9 p.m. It's all different again. Now you might have seafood in there. Literally, you could be on the street and then get like steamed crabs, on crab stew. Yeah, sometimes you can find lobster on the side of the street next to some alley at 9 p.m. by an elderly woman with a conical hat. It's like, all right, yeah, I suppose.
I'm sure that can be an old YouTube. Trying to find crab.
Oh, yeah. Oh, certainly. Right. So with that said, again, the bottom line is one small strip of road is incredibly dynamic. If you were to walk up and down it every hour, it would be changing.
Yeah.
Because with so many competing different people serving so much different food, it is like the definition of capitalism and, market-driven everything. If there's a brand new food item that nobody likes, you'll know. I mean, you'll know within a week.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to do market surveys or whatever. Oh, just try it. So businesses open and close at any given time. People can go out there as long as they want or as short as they want. Maybe they'll go out there and try to sell Bun Hen from 5 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night and find out, well, after 11, like hardly anybody bought any of it, so it's not even worth it, right? You find that all out. So it's a highly, what can I say, market-driven, customer-driven, demand-driven. There we go. Yeah.
Demand.
It's totally demand-driven. Yeah. Way more so than in America. America, I think, is less flexible. It's way less flexible. You can't just pop up something right there outside of a school for just 2 hours and then pull it back down and leave. No way. So under these circumstances, this whole market-driven economy and demand-driven economy is absolutely amazing. One example we were talking about earlier, and again, kind of going to the street food thing, is again, like going to a baseball game or a American football game in Minneapolis. Okay, well, you got 25,000 people walking into that stadium. And then that same 25,000 are all going to kind of be coming out at about the same time, at whatever hour, let's say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Well, that influx of people is hard to feed. I mean, how many restaurants would you need to feed 25,000 people? 500, reasonably. So it's a really difficult ordeal to try to get enough food and drinks for all these people, let alone transportation, among other things. So there's a lot of people just wandering around, not knowing what the hell to do or where to go. Okay. In Vietnam, in contrast, they would be capitalizing on that. You would literally, it would be for like several kilometers on every single street in a full radius around this stadium would be jam-packed. Every single square inch used serving food or drinks or a street side bar. And then there'd be women holding the gun, holding the sticks, walking around in the crowd, passing out bowls of soup, banh mi sandwiches left and right. There'd be guys pushing cart. You would be tripping over food everywhere you go. You will not be hungry, sir, nor madam. Absolutely not. Because they're so portable and flexible. And they can show up just for that one day, just for that period of time. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Does that sound right to you?
Mm-hmm. And they do that. Mm-hmm. They capitalize on schools and events. And if you have any kind of event of any sort with any amount of people, definitely someone outside selling soup and noodles and food.
Oh, yeah. If it's a kids' intramural soccer event, just to pick a random, that's not random out here, but I mean, just to pick an example. Yeah, kids' intramural soccer event, and then you got the moms and dads watching soccer. Ding, 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 ding. There's going to be food there, guaranteed, and there's probably going to be beer within 50 yards of, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And because literally people will drive around or move around town looking for crowds. And once they find a crowd, oh, wow, let's give this a whirl. So again, no matter where you go, there's going to be food just automatically and magically, everywhere. Food and drinks, whatever you would reasonably need at that time. Art festival in town, there's food people everywhere. Oh yeah.
On the
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He'll drive around and if he sees a crowd, he'll just walk his motorbike and be like, yep.
And by the way, bun bao would be the sticky buns. So that means that they're I hate to hold up toilet paper to show but yeah, imagine like a little circular bun, sort of like this, about this size.
Yeah, about that size.
And about yay thick. With meat in the middle usually, or what styles have you had?
Yeah, I like the meat with the quail egg.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And in this neighborhood, by the way, it is 2 for 10,000. So it's 5,000 for one. So wait, 10,000. So what is that? 10,000. That's about 25 cents. Yeah. Less than that, 22 cents for two. Yeah, for 20. So they're 10 cents a pop. And they go around with motorcycles.
Yeah. Container on the one side and the fire on the other side. And he's steaming the stuff while he's driving.
Yeah. Type this into Google if you want to see what we're talking about. And they got their little shitty loudspeaker. Everyone's got this shitty thing. Yeah. It sounds like 1920s propaganda speaker. It sounds like that,
just a loudspeaker.
Yeah. But the thing is, if anybody tried to improve upon it, for example, we have one. No, I get it. Yeah. No, I want the one from the shitty speaker. Yeah, I want it just that way. I know what I'm getting. And once again, these guys, all they do is drive around, and let's just say, I don't see them in the morning. Yeah. No, I'm just guessing, probably like 5 p.m. until.
Yeah, he passes my house every day.
Right.
4 p.m. he's there. Unless he's seen an event somewhere.
Right. Hey, more power to him, right? But yeah, he'll just belt that out throughout the neighborhood. So if you want anything, you just run out the front door. Occasionally, I'm on my rooftop and I hear the guy and I hear him driving around, and I'll just yell down like, "Hi, hi, guy, yeah, buddy, swoon." All right, sweet dude. Yeah, he gets two of them, puts them in his little thing, and then he's waiting there, and I run all the way down and yep, hand him 10,000. I know what's up. So that's amazing. And yeah, they're again market driven. If there's an event, they're there. If you know, if it's bar time, like
Oh yeah.
2 a.m. downtown. Oh yeah, they're there. You're not going to be hungry, my friends. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there are people, they'll be there.
Yep. Exactly. So anyway, this is really, really worth noting that you do not go hungry in Vietnam. It's ridiculous to get to that point where you're like, oh man, I wish there was some food around. I wish we had someone here that could help us out with X, Y, Z. Never happens. Never happens. So anyway, great. Now, Kom Bindan or Binyan is how we would pronounce it. In Hanoi, it's Binzan. Now, Binzan by itself, that word means affordable, basically. You don't want to say cheap, but affordable. And then Kom is rice. Simple enough. It sounds like affordable rice. Yeah. But what does that really mean? You describe it to me, buddy.
Well, so your base of rice, and then you have, let's say, 20 different dishes that you can choose from. So if you want fish today, or chicken, or seafood, or whatever, vegetables. So it's just a plate of rice, and then they add a few of these dishes that they have available. They'll just put it on a plate for you.
Right. And what would, perfect. If you think about PF Chang's or like Panda Express, there we go. If you think Panda Express in like a mall area, it's exactly like that. Meaning, yeah, you want fried rice or white rice? White rice. All right, you get two entrees. Which two? I'll take a scoop of that and a scoop of that. Okay, great. And then here to go. Wait, done. Great. But in America, it'll be like $6, $7 or something. You get your two entrees. Think Panda Express. Yeah, but way better, in my opinion. Way better, and definitely different. I don't think there's a single Panda Express food that would line up with the Vietnamese one. There's not one that matches. I mean, maybe caramelized pork. Yeah, but it's going to be better in Vietnam. Yeah, it would be close. I mean, the white rice, but yeah. But it's going to be proper white rice. I mean, I went to Panda Express after being in Vietnam and Taiwan and Thailand, and they were serving me like goddamn freeze-dried minute rice. It didn't even stick with each other, and it was clearly there for like half a day. I was incredulous. How dare you, sir? How dare you insult me with this excuse for plastic that happens to look like rice? How dare you? That would they would be out of business in Vietnam, and their house would be burned down. Like, that is ridiculous. Sacrilege. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So could you give some examples at a binyan? What would be some example side entrees, to use those words?
Yeah, I didn't explain a lot of them, but you'll have a few like not mince pies, but it's like a meatball kind of in a tomato sauce. That's quite popular.
Oh yeah, how would you describe that? We have no concept.
It's a
You did a pretty good job,
Yeah.
actually.
meat,
Like a baseball size, sometimes
yeah,
that
yeah,
big,
yeah.
and then they cut it open and.
And then one quiche.
Oh yeah. That'd be the best way to describe it. Yeah.
Um,
But it'll be a quiche with vegetables mixed in, sometimes a fair amount of cheese, and believe it or not, pork brains. The now hale. Yeah, the now hale. That's a really, really nice touch. It's popular in Mexico, definitely not in the United States, but as far as I know. Yeah. Almost like I would almost argue better than cheese in a couple of ways.
Yeah, but not like the dairy flavor.
Yeah, it just marries
Yeah.
with the egg really well. It might sound a little bizarre to say like, and I'll write this out. Um, um, okay, now hail pork brains with the eggs, but I'm telling you, it is amazing. And one of my favorite things to do, by the by, is go out to Grandpa's, and every time I bring a group of newbies there, I will order some now hail. And Grandpa knows, oh, you brought some newbies, yeah. And I don't tell them what it is and let them try it. And every time, without exception, they're like, this is the best egg quiche I have ever had, ever. Not just in Vietnam, but I mean, of all time throughout my life. Yep. But I always wait until it's the very last bite and then that spoon clinks. Big brain. Every time you're like, oh, well, glad you told me afterwards. I wouldn't have tried it before. And, like Guangdong, for example, that's his new favorite dish. Oh, yeah. Meaning he'll go there and he could order that every day. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. In other words, there's some really, really great food options. And yeah, the Now Heo is one.
Yeah, the variety dishes. So they'll have a whole bunch, maybe 10, maybe different dishes that you can add to your rice. You have a few places that only do some dishes. Like I know, no, that's come in. It's a different thing.
There's a Compton place.
Yeah, the Compton Saigon, but they specialize in like grilled chicken.
Right. So they all have different specialties, no doubt
Yeah.
about it. But what we're talking about here is there are some large scale sit down Bun places.
Yeah.
But there's also all of this stuff can fit in one cart, so to speak, with a little display case in front of it. So it'd be about, what would you say, not even 2 meters high. It would be like a meter and a half. It's about my eye level high. But they can fit all of their stuff in there, one dish at a time.
Yeah.
And then it's got wheels on the bottom of it. And you could park that anywhere.
Yeah.
Middle of a park, sure. Right outside of your house, no problem. If, even a auto repair garage. All right, get to work. So yeah, some of these combinyan places, they'll actually set up right at lunchtime. Da Nang would be a good example. They got construction crews everywhere out there. Not a single fella's hungry. No, because anytime any guy wants to ever take a break, oh, there's a little combinyan cart. Perfect. And they brought the husband brought like 10 tables and 25 chairs on his motorcycle all in one shot, and sets them all up with the dishes. And, oh, lunchtime, set down the tools, wash off your hair. Oh, food immediately right here on the job site. Perfect. Mhm. Yeah.
I bet you can't walk 2 feet on that street without seeing food.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially at lunchtime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But either way, combinyan is a very common thing and really worth looking for. And they got signs for it all over hell. And obviously their display cart is half the advertisement. In other words, sometimes they don't even have a name. They don't need it. I mean, hey, you want it, yes or no? Yeah, and then what are you serving today? There is no menu. You just peek. Oh, sweet. You got the big pieces of fish, like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with like that dark. It's like a sweet oil. Like, it's not a general so, but what would be the American equivalent? It's like an oyster sauce. No, we don't really have it. It's a caramelized sauce that they have with this fried fish. You get one of them. You get one of those big old chunks, plus some veggies, plus maybe some eggs, plus a few other things like 4 entrees.
Yeah.
Oh man, you could walk out of there for 20,000, I bet. Which should be like 85 cents. 90 cents. Oh yeah, you've got a big old plate and you're all set. you know, and if you're still hungry after that,
Oh, just grab another.
another plate. Yeah. So anyway, these are some really interesting options, you know, like this. Now, I did want to write this down as well. The Ganh ladies, okay? Okay, so and I'm just going to describe it. Okay, you know that picture? Here we go. Okay, you know that picture of the old lady with the long stick and then the bucket here and the bucket in the back with the conical hat? You gotta have that shit. Oh yeah. That iconic photo that you see in like when you type in Vietnam.
You'll see a rice paddy.
Yeah, I see a rice paddy. Yeah. I wondered about that because I saw that iconic photo of Vietnam and I just thought, oh, actors, actresses, or that's how things looked 100 years ago, or maybe they only posed for the movie or posed. Nope, and nope. That is a current reality right now at all times in all parts of all cities, always. Guess what's inside those baskets, folks? Rocks? No. Rice for the market? No. Food. Of course.
More food.
Yeah, more food. They're full of food. So these women are just going around and they might even have like a damn big old pot of soup. Like if you imagine like a 5-gallon bucket of soup, yeah, that's like in the front side. And then the back is like dishes, chopsticks, spoons. Sometimes. She'll have like little stools. Yeah, she'll have like a stack of stools. So when you want something, she'll like, all right.
Set up shop.
Yeah, set down this. And then pulls out the stack of 4 baby stools. 1, 2, 3. And then she sits down on one. Like, oh, you know, how many bowls? Oh, we'll take 3 bowls. Okay. Bang. You know, and then she'll just hang out. And then whenever you're done, okay. Puts that on, puts her hat back on, stacks up this. Well, off to the next one. You know, hotel, you know, or whatever meal she happens to be serving. It's brilliant. So you can add this word Ganh. It means that's the word for this stick. Okay, it's Ganh. So you could say, tukan means food. So tukan Ganh, or I want to eat Ganh today. Ramadan Ganh. Or this is, maybe she's serving hotiu, would be the name of one particular dish, but you could call it hotiu Ganh. All right, you know, something like that. So it's a nice simple word to refer to this woman going down the street. Now, and just a quick story. I met this terrific fella named Operacion. Shitty name, well, beautiful name, but shitty in Vietnamese, so we call him Appa. So here, Appa and I met him randomly. We're sitting around having a couple beers, and he said to me, like, well, Brad, this has been fun, thanks, but I got to go get some lunch. He laughed. I'm like, I don't understand. He's like, yeah, I got to go get some lunch. I'm like, I'm a native English speaker, and I understand each individual word you just said. Got to, need, go, get lunch. But the part I don't understand fundamentally is what the go part. Yeah. I mean, the lunch part I get. You know, gotta, I get. But the go part? We're in Vietnam, brother. Are you a rookie? What are you doing? You don't need to go get some food. The food comes to you. You just sit here. What are you talking about? This is the most convenient country on earth. So I made a bet with him. I'm like, how about this, buddy? Let's order 2 more beers. Here's the deal. Let's wait here 10 more minutes and drink these beers. And if food randomly comes to us in the next 10 minutes and we don't even have to get up, you buy. Okay, sound fair? So that way you win and you buy. And if food does not come in the next 10 minutes, then I will pay for these 2 beers and I will personally take you out to lunch and I will buy. You win again. So either way, you win. Does that sound fair to you? And of course, he's like, well, yeah, I try beer. By the time the beers hit our table, you know, my God, my God, yeah. A Ganh lady came by and I'm like, hey. She set up right there on the street and then put the two bowls right on our table. We didn't even have to get up. Right. And he was just like, oh my God, I've seen these women around for so long. I never knew what they had. Like, rookie.
Yeah, they're not crazy. They're not just walking up
Yeah, for no reason. Yeah. They're not calling out their dog's name. Yeah. So that would be an excellent example. Is the gun ladies? They're all over, and yes, this is also true. Sometimes these ladies will be like, there's farmers working out in a field, and then she might yell from the road, like, oh, damn! And then the guys will look up, put down their hoe, and then give a little wave, She'll walk out, sometimes knee deep in water. Yeah. Oh, bring it all the way out to the field, set it up. Here you go. We were just watching a special today of a woman doing so on a boat. Same concept. I mean, she doesn't have to stick, but what did you see there? What do you remember?
Yeah, 5 a.m. in the morning, cooking soup, selling soup to passers-by, people going to the market, people selling, buying things. Yeah, that's all she does.
All day. Serving it while sitting on a boat.
On a boat.
Like noodle up, and same thing, paddling away.
She doesn't even wobble. She's
got this figured out. No, and she's not the only soup selling woman on a boat out in that area, not by a long shot. Now, if this woman was in America at some sort of port or some sort of fishing town or something like that, she'd be killing it. She'd be crushing it. She could charge $10 a bowl, and she'd probably get a tip on top of that. She would be crushing it. But truthfully, that just doesn't exist in my experience. The entire concept doesn't exist by going around on a boat, or that for that matter is more of a canoe, going around on a canoe selling soup. What? Oh, yeah, there's a fire going. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Totally normal, just another day. Yeah. So this food is always moving and always in front of you, always around all the time. You never go hungry. So I joke with a lot of people. If you're in Vietnam and you starved to death, you did not die of starvation. You died of stupidity. Yeah. You must have forgot how this works. You have any stories about that?
Yeah, sure. And 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they'll be like, hey, are you hungry? Yeah, sure. After all those beers, I could eat something. Okay, be right back. And he leaves. 2 minutes later, comes back with a bunch of sandwiches. Like 3 o'clock in the morning, everything's closed. But you can find it. If you look for it, you'll find it, yeah.
Definitely. Well, because it's people filling in those marketing gaps. Like if you're a Bun Me person, maybe you want to be there at the time nobody else is.
Yeah.
I mean, if the market demands it. So yeah, they'll probably hang out, pull a couple all-nighters, and maybe they find, can actually make some decent money just working the night shift only. Yeah, it's kind of lonely, but
if you go to walking, like 6, 7 Bun Me ladies in a row, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah. There's one Bun Me woman I recall. She was outside of Brown Eyes Bar, right downtown there, and she, oh my gosh, like zero English. And a lot of these drunk people are really almost abusive, but she's just
Smiling away.
Smiling, super patient. You know, I think Dan, she might upcharge like 20,000 or something. But there's a line. Yeah, she I think only works like maybe 3-4 hours a day. Yeah. That's about it. But she kills it. Just kills it. Yeah, she's the only woman there. Yeah, and then sometimes they'll just slap down 100 and be like, I want a bunch of them. One at a time now. Where's my sandwich, woman? Hurry the fuck up. Okay. Just like that. Just, okay. Yeah, count it. Yeah. So, one other interesting point too. I was with one of my buddies, Stiff Weasel, and we woke up one day. This is after like 10, 12 days in Vietnam. We woke up one morning and we were just like, oh man, I don't feel so good. And he's like, I don't really feel good either, man. What's going on? And we're like, oh, I don't know. Let's go out and wait it out. I'm sure we'll be fine. You know, I don't have the runs. I'm not physically sick, but something's just off, you know? It's like this vague pain. Okay, whatever. And then we waited it out like 2 hours and it got worse for both of us. We're like, oh my gosh, yeah, something just ain't right. I'm not feeling it today, bro. Like it's, By about 11 a.m., we identified the problem. Hunger. Yeah, hunger. Yeah, we just forgot to eat the former night. And but we have never once ever been hungry in Vietnam. So we forgot what hunger feels like. Like we didn't recognize the physical, emotional response. We didn't recognize it because it was such a foreign concept. For both of us, it's been like years since we actually felt hungry. You know, so yeah, needless to say, found a little bit of food and like, okay, there we go. We're back. Which, I mean, needless to say, it took like 30 seconds. So yeah, there's so much food around, you might forget what hunger feels like. So, okay, cool. Well, now let's see. Let's shift things a little bit here, and okay, get to the live animals thing, and the closeness of animals and the food. What I mean is, if you were to look at a chicken nugget and then look at a live chicken, you wouldn't be able to draw the links between them very well. In fact, most people couldn't tell you how it went from this to this. And if you've only looked at chicken nuggets your whole life, the idea of a live chicken would be bizarre to you. You know. So anyway, things are, there's less leaps in between those two. So do you have some examples of that? What do you think?
Yeah, I think people what they eat. Everyone knows exactly where their food comes from, whether it be vegetables or meat or whatever. It's not funny to go to a restaurant and order a chicken and they'll slaughter a chicken.
You hear,
yeah, just last night we went out and stuff, sitting in the restaurant. I ordered chicken, and you have to order the whole chicken.
Go figure.
Yeah, nothing's frozen, so. And you hear a chicken, and then you hear some banging, and no more chicken. Oh yeah. It's my fault. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah, so they have a connection, and exactly, and you kind of get used to it. You kind of know where your food comes from, which is a good thing.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of people being like vegetarians or whatever, which is good, and they're fighting against cruelty to animals and all that. And then you have people who just chow meat. But if they knew where it came from, maybe they would change their mind a little bit. But me personally, I know where it comes from, and I still like it. So.
Amen to that. So, oddly enough, or odd from an American perspective, in Vietnam, it's a positive thing. If you go to a duck restaurant, if you hear ducks in the back,
yeah, that's good.
That's good. You want that. So you seek that out. In fact, they might put some live ducks in cages in front of the restaurant, and that would be their equivalent of advertising. You don't need a Facebook page. You don't need restaurant reviews. You don't need professional food critics. Nope. People will walk by and be like, oh, okay, I'll take that particular duck. Okay, sir. Feathers everywhere. All right, get back.
People think it's weird, but if you go to a fancy ass lobster restaurant, you choose your lobster.
Oh yeah. It's not that different.
It's not that
different. So now, speaking of though, live seafood restaurants, what's been your experience with live seafood?
Yeah, that's crazy. You choose everything you eat, like the fish, the clams, the crab, everything.
Mm-hmm.
You choose everything. They have a stack of like 25 tanks, all filled with different creatures, and you choose exactly what you want and how you want it cooked, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I'll write this right here.
I thought fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh seafood.
You got it. And then chon means to choose, so freshly chosen, so we could say freshly chosen seafood. And I bring this up because this is a standard sign. When you see Haisan Tuichon, you know exactly what that means. They're going to have like probably 20 aquariums in there.
Yeah.
Usually, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll even have like big ass fishes, like, a meter long. You don't order a half of one. I mean, that's not how it works.
Even if you don't like speak, you go and point to the tank, they'll be like, "Oh, you want that? Okay,
sweet. Let's get after it." Yeah. And they'll probably tell you straight up how much it is or whatever the case is, right? And so the standard ones are going to have large scale fish. Octopus tanks are really common. I can think of 10 places.
Generally,
Yep.
you buy per kilogram. So you pay per kilogram, so they weigh what you take. Which makes sense. If you take a big lobster, it's going to be more.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, overall, some places will actually list their kilo price right there on the wall.
Outside on a board.
Yep. It's going to be in Vietnamese. Go figure. Yeah. Duh. But yeah, in general, that's the way to go. Yeah. Because once again, if they are a seafood place and they don't have like fish tanks full of live stuff, if you order something and they don't go there with a net and like net it out, something's wrong. Yeah. So a lot of times when you're there, they'll actually get out like a strainer, effectively, like a big old strainer like this. And you go in and be like, hey, I'll take 3 kilos of that. Great. And then they might ask, you want them grilled? You want them stewed? You want them steamed? You want them fried? You want them, a special sauce with it? You want the cheese topping? Okay, I'll take it this time. Perfect. Go right down the list, and then they just start filling up this strainer, little by little. And all right, sweet. It's brilliant. So have you enjoyed that with live seafood places?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's always fresh.
Where have you found some of the best? What city or what area?
The coastal places are pretty good, but I don't see much difference because they're all still alive. It's still all fresh. So whether you go at the coast or in a city or anywhere, it's still live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
certainly
fresh.
No, you're going to find more of a variety. And for example, Mike, when you go to Vung Tau, oh yeah.
Yeah, they got some good seafood there.
Oh yeah. I've been to probably 10 freshly chosen seafood joints in Vung Tau. Fantastic. And in Hue, I could think of a dozen for sure. Because if you're serving seafood, it's pretty much a necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it from a normal Vietnamese person's perspective. Hey, if I want to go out for seafood tonight, do I want live, fresh seafood I look at and point to? Or do I want frozen ass seafood from some amateur?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to spend the money, I want top of the line.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
In fact, it costs less, to get it freeze or get it fresh. So why would I do it any other way?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that does take some people a little bit of getting used to. Or some people are like, well, I'll eat a fish or a lobster out of the tank, but oh my God, a live duck? Oh my God, no, I wouldn't, or something like that. Or, oh my God, a live snake? Oh, something like that, where people have aversions to certain types of animals. Love these, hate these, eat these, love those. In Vietnam, they're kind of, again, they're market driven, they're demand driven. So if there's enough people that just want the hell out of snake, I mean, let's just say, guess what? Snake restaurants are gonna start popping up within the months, And yes, I would say some people want to make sure it's fresh. So, like, let's say you go to a top quality snake restaurant, they'll probably kill the snake right at your table as part of the whole, like, yeah, we're not joshing you. Like, you came here because you want fresh snake. I mean, you didn't come here for any other reason. And so, yes, we will kill it at your table, put the beating heart of the snake in a shot glass, like as you saw. Oh, yeah, of course. And then you could take her down, which is disturbing for some people. But as far as me and a lot of Vietnamese people, let alone the restaurant owner, are concerned, hell yeah, I mean, you're here to eat snake, right? So
yeah.
Let's eat a snake. What's the issue? So yeah, the freshness of the food, there's definitely a lot to be said about that. And what do you think about the markets? Like when you look at the markets in general, as far as live animals and stuff.
Same kind of thing. You want to buy chicken, you're not going to go to the market and buy pre-packed, frozen packages of chicken thighs and chicken breasts. You're going to choose a chicken, and then she's going to slaughter it for you and give you what's left. Yeah. Yeah. No, she will kill it and then give you everything, the head, the feet, everything included. That's yours. You paid for it. And so it's all fresh still.
That's right.
As far as bigger animals like beef and stuff, you're not going to choose your cow because you're just going to buy it. You can.
Not at the market, right?
You're just going to buy 1 kilogram or 2 kilograms. So, yeah, you can't choose your cow, but you still get fresh meat. So if I want to get some fresh meat or whatever to make sausage or mince or whatever, I'll go really early in the morning, 6 a.m. And that way it's fresh, because they don't have freezers. They can't keep the meat. So,
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's nothing they can't keep the meat. It's going to spoil. So they only have a little bit at a time. And once that's sold out, that's it. We're done. Close shop. Back tomorrow. If I didn't have enough meat today, maybe tomorrow I'll have more. But that's kind of supply and demand.
Definitely. So thank you again for bringing this up. Without refrigerators, the supply chain is super short. It's super short. You don't much
shorter.
Yeah, you don't have like I said in the last live stream, you don't have like one big factory farm out in California, kill all the cows out there, freeze it, put it on refrigerated trucks, and send it all the way to the other side of America, and then have it sit in another freezer, then buy it. Nope. The supply chain sometimes is less than 20 kilometers total from the place where the cows were raised to where it is served fresh in a soup. And sometimes the time between, like at a restaurant, that's the zenith. The length of time between the time its heart is beating and alive to it is in a bowl of soup, it did not hit room temperature. It went from your 90 some degrees, whatever normal body temperature to in a soup already. It never even hit room temperature. Certainly never got cold. No way. But in the case of meat, likewise, it's never touched the fridge.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird. But you don't need it if, again, it was alive 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
It's fine.
A lot of people have issues buying meat. And I agree. If you go 4 p.m., and that meat's been sitting there since 5 a.m. and now it's 4 p.m. with flies and shit covered. Don't buy it. That's common sense to me. But that's why I go early. Early morning, I know it's fresh. It's still cool outside. There's no flies yet, so there's nothing wrong. I'm still fine 3 years later.
Right, like you said. So yeah, a lot of these markets they do open at about 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Real reasonably. And yes, what do you call it? Wholesaler? I guess I could use that word. Meaning, let's say they butcher a cow at midnight. It's going to be all quartered up.
Yeah.
And literally they'll put like a hind quarter on a motorcycle and then drive that bastard all the way into the market. And then they'll actually go around at 4 in the morning, like, oh, I'll take 2 kilos worth. Eyeball it, clang, lay down a whole chunk, right for this woman, and then she'll part it out, sell it by the key, after that.
Yeah.
Yep. Same thing. Fishermen will come in with a full catch, oftentimes still alive.
Yeah.
All the better. And
when you go to
a restaurant,
yeah, you can still buy live fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At the market every morning. Not 4 p.m., but 4 p.m. you have a different lady in a different spot selling different seafood. General seafood.
Hey, but if the fish are still alive, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yes, you see people on the side of the road selling fish that are still alive, just dangling around. You get crabs that are tied up like this, but they're still jiggling. Yeah. In fact, once again, that's the point. They actually want them to be alive. If you got a bag of dead fish, no one's going to buy it. I mean,
yeah, you can't freeze it, so
that's it.
Might as well keep it alive.
Right. So if we were to kind of, this whole idea of having everything alive is kind of weird from an American perspective, because we're so used to this idea of if it's in a fridge, it's fresh. Yeah. Or if it's frozen, then it's fresh. But if it's just raw, sitting there, light out in the open with no plastic wrap over it, it's bad. You're programmed to think that way because, again, given the circumstances in America, that's often true. But the opposite is true out here, I think. And, if you imagine like hundreds of people all trying to sell meat, well, to have all hundreds of them all have fridges at the ready connected to electricity, it's kind of funny, because they're on the side of a road, for example. Like, how would you do that? This entire economy is dependent on no fridges. Freshness and this ultra short supply chain. A lot of times the person who's selling you the oranges is the guy who picked them from the tree that morning. The woman selling you the chopped up pineapple plucked that off her little pineapple bush, that morning, really. So I think that's kind of a neat thing. They don't mature in the truck en route, like they would in America. They don't pick green bananas hoping that they yellow, on the way from Bolivia to here. Nope. They're picked at the absolute day of freshness and sold that day gone.
Reality.
Right.
It's not a perfect banana that you're going to buy at the market. No.
Right. And that's by the way, fun fact, Vietnamese people actually prefer imperfect fruit and imperfect eggs and imperfect a lot of stuff. You're right about that. So like bananas, I want some bruises on it. I want a few of them weirdly sized, because they're real. I and other Vietnamese people, if we see a pack of like 10 bananas, perfect, like front of a magazine, like exactly how it's supposed to look.
Be like, why? What did you do?
Right.
Why does it look like that?
Did you color it? Did you fake this? Did you put too much chemicals on it? No. Organic bananas do not look like that. Organic bananas are random colors or random condition. There we go. Similarly, people actually want eggs that are still covered in a little bit of chicken shit. They really do. It sounds weird to say it, but yeah, People prefer, because if you get an egg that's 100% perfectly white, pristine color, exact same size, shape, color, in a styrofoam package, etc., it's like, I don't know how fresh that was. That was probably sitting in a fridge for months. I have no idea what's going on. Right. But instead, if, and this is from a Vietnamese perspective, if you can get eggs that still have a little like chicken shit and straw chunks, stuck to it, it smells like a farm. Yeah, shicklink. So yeah, a lot of people, including me, I want dirty eggs. And some of them are kind of small. Some of them have a double yolk in them. Perfect. Yeah.
They're never the
No, right. In reality, right. So it sounds weird to say it, but when we're talking about freshness comes with its imperfections, and a lot of people seek those imperfections. It is true that there are some factory farms similar in Vietnam, similar to America or other, Western nations and whatnot. But in Vietnam, the Vietnamese people push back on that one. They want old school, raised on a farm, free range, organic, regular chickens, probably laid a bunch of eggs under a bush somewhere, like chickens do. That kind of stuff. So it's definitely going to be different. So there are a lot of people Western people, that walk around markets in Vietnam are like, well, that's weird. Raw meat here, fish eyes there, fish swimming here, and you just chop the head off, and now you're trying to cut the skin off while it's still wiggling in the. Yep. They've been doing this for 50 years, there, son. That's fresh. That's right. Doesn't happen. My wife comes home with live clams and live fish still wiggling in the bag as she puts it in the fridge. Yep. And thanks, honey. So,
I do my and they think it's a weird concept.
why? Why is shopping for vegetables weekly weird?
Why would you buy vegetables? That doesn't make sense. Just go to the market this morning and buy it, and then come back and use it. And tomorrow, on your way home, stop at the market and buy vegetables.
Right. How many places could you buy? Okay, 3 kilometers. Okay, between your house and that university, and that might be stretching it, but how many places could you buy vegetables reasonably? Let's say within a few blocks.
I think there's about 6 markets.
Hear that? 6
markets, yeah, excluding the ladies next to the road. These are like
straight up proper ass here every day.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. So there's 6 markets in between your house and your work. Again, food is everywhere, folks. It's everywhere. You trip over food left and right. It's like an infinite buffet at all times, everywhere, always. It's awesome. That's awesome. Better stock up for the week. Fucking why? Yeah, exactly. In fact, there's a lot of restaurants that will the restaurant itself will go food shopping twice a day. Oh yeah. Because it's better that way. And yes, while you're sitting at a restaurant in Vietnam, it's reasonable. Every few hours, another bike or a truck pulls up and someone has like baskets of food and fresh vegetables and stuff like that. Totally reasonably. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Right. So once again, this concept of a restaurant having no refrigerator is a bonus because the supply chain is so short and everything is so convenient that you don't need a refrigerator. You can skip the refrigerator and then just get food on demand. If you give them a call an hour heads up, you don't even need that much time, but half hour before you need it, you got it. If I ordered 5 chickens from a restaurant, five chickens for our party of 20 people, and let's just say they have 0 at the restaurant, what would happen?
They're probably good.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, for the chicken. Hey, I need 5 chickens. Bring it over.
Yep. Within 20 minutes, I'll bet those chickens will be there, probably still squawking, a feather here and there.
On the back of them.
Yep. Yeah. But ironically enough, to bring it in live is cleaner than if they were to kill it ahead of time and then try to package it. No, just bring in the live chicken straight up. Because even if it got dirty from motorbike road stuff, who cares? Yeah, you're gonna kill it and clean it and deep fry it.
Becomes way more complex.
And you don't know if it's fresh or not. If you have 2 dead chickens, this one was killed 3 days ago. This one was killed 3 minutes ago. It's kind of, But if you bring it live, it's set. Or you're set to go. Anyway, restaurants getting things on demand, and going vegetable shopping multiple times a day in some cases.
Yeah. That's why sometimes because things might sit in their freezers for days, weeks, months. If not a lot of people are eating ribs, for example, the ribs will sit in the deep freeze until someone eats it, which is not the case in the ones of the Vietnamese restaurants because they don't keep the food. They'll have fresh or they don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. No, and that's a great point. And once again, if we think about a restaurant in America that has like 30 menu items, well, not all 30 items are going to get sold every day, right? I mean, that's just statistically improbable. But they also need to keep all 30 on stock and on hand in case somebody does. Yeah. And there's some, in the middle of that, there are people that will make X amount of batch for the day, hoping to be able to say, okay, yeah. But this goes away when you go to a restaurant that only, in some cases, serves 3 things. Well, that's a non-issue now. Yeah, they only got to keep on hand this much of this batch from this place, and that's it.
I know I'm generalizing, but I don't mean like all Western restaurants. I'm sure there's a lot of them that do things properly.
Or small scale, or whatever.
Or small scale. I'm just saying, in like locally, it's much more. It's more difficult to find a restaurant with freezers than it is to find fresh.
Right.
It's easier to find fresh food than old food.
For good reason. For damn good reason. In that regard. So, similarly, real quick about the supply chain thing, you will never eat a restaurant out of food. It won't happen. It's impossible. And same thing, you cannot drink them out of beer. It can't happen. Because again, the supply chain is so damn short. It's not like America where, our liquor guy comes every other Tuesday, the first and third Tuesday of the month. So I'll have to remember to write that. No, fuck no. Nope. In Vietnam, they're like, party of 20? No problem. We only have 5 cases left. Yeah, and 20 minutes later, motorbike pulls up, shaklang. You can't run them out of beer, and certainly couldn't run them out of food for the same reason, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you brought up briefly, and you're right, the food sharing thing, right? Because isn't it true where a lot of restaurants are next to each other? What's been your experience in that?
It's not uncommon to order food from a different restaurant or get ingredients from a different restaurant. I've ordered some food at a restaurant, and I didn't know they didn't have it. It was on the menu. But they went next door to get the food. So they brought a tray over from next door with my food on it. And I'm like, I'm not sitting there, I'm sitting here. It's fine.
They might even have a window between the kitchen and then the kitchen next. Hey guys!
Yeah, it's a very funny concept.
By American standards.
Yeah. But it happens. You can order food from a different restaurant and sit at the restaurant. Well, some restaurants you don't even have to buy food. You can bring your own food.
That's right. That's right. Okay, and let's go there. Yep, this is totally a thing. And one other aspect of Vietnam that I really enjoy is the BYOB, BYOF. Yep.
Yeah, you can bring your own beer, bring your own food. It's no problem. We've had a few events like coastal side with a group of people, and they will them drinks, and get to the restaurant and give them the food to cook, and give them the beer to put on ice, and then sit at the table and be served your own food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Totally happens.
Yep. Similarly, I could buy like my own bottle of vodka and my own mixer, and then I could theoretically go and sit down at a Quan and ask them for some cups and a bucket of ice. And they will, in fact, on top of that, give me a professional server that will sit there and then, like, with the little tongs, put the ice into my cup and then allow me to pour my own cocktails at their restaurant. No worries, just totally cool. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's right. Seems weird, but here it's again a non-issue. Likewise, you said bring your own food, but okay, same thing. This happens every day. I can go to a restaurant or a Quan, and yep, sure enough, there'll be women or men in some cases coming by. Maybe it'll be a woman with, oh my God, maybe it'll be a whole tray of fruit in a scale. Like you want some apples, oranges, bananas, pineapples, whatever. You want it pre-cut. You want some mangoes, Yeah, oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, like, hey, I'll take a kilo of sliced mangoes, and she'll pull up a fresh one like this one. Yes, that one. Okay. And then a little bag of salt and, salt, chili, pepper, and MSG, whatever. There you go. Totally normal. And I'm doing so while sitting inside of a restaurant that serves food. I yell out onto the street, and she brings food from the street into the restaurant I'm sitting at. Totally cool and totally acknowledged. What are some other street foods like that you can order from inside of a restaurant?
Oh, wow. What's that thing I talked about this morning?
There's peanuts.
There's peanuts. You got your peanuts. You got your unbows, obviously, and then you got your what's it called?
Oh, there's nem. Yeah. Okay.
Nem.
Yeah, Louis. Yeah.
Louis. Nem.
But how would you describe those?
It's like a pasty rice
dumpling. Could we say?
With prawns in the middle.
Ooh, yeah, little shrimp inside of like a rice dumpling. Yeah.
And then you get a little bit
or a lot in my case. I get a soup bowl of it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. And usually you just order it by the 10,000 or like. So I usually say hi, choop. 20,000 worth. Okay, mom. Which is usually.
It's quite a bit.
20,000. I mean, fill your ass up. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all nicely wrapped in little banana leaf thingies.
And there's a few varieties, but that's one of the good ones. So they wrap it in banana leaves like 5-10 times, and then they like boil them. It feels like. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I think.
Steam it. That's right. And check this out. The cool part with this little street food, if you will, is you can take these leaves and just throw them on the street.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Put them in a garden, throw them in a forest. Doesn't matter. Really, it's effectively zero waste because there's no plastic. There's no paper needed. It's just straight up leaves pulled off from trees, which are infinitely renewable, and honestly, I don't think that's going to change much because they taste the best when they're done with leaves and they're done old school. And it really, for these folks, it doesn't cost them that much to be able to make these in big batches. Leaves are free.
Yeah.
So
I got a bunch of banana trees in the backyard, and people keep jumping over the wall and cutting off my leaves to use for cooking.
Cool. Yeah. You should just invite them in and be like, and give them a ladder. And be like, hey. It'd be a little easier. You don't got to do it at midnight, honey. Don't worry. Come by at noon, I'll give you coffee. Yeah. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing. But yeah, selling peanuts and bar foods and whatnot. I got my peanut woman. Good old Chi Lin. and she knows exactly who I am, and she knows 100% of the time that I see her, I'm gonna buy some. I've been a loyal, buy every goddamn time kind of guy for 2 years now. So sometimes I'm like just bicycling down. She bicycles too, because that's how you do it, right? She's got her little basket full of stuff in the front, or basket, circular serving tray full of steamed peanuts. I think they're steamed or cooked. And dried. Yeah, and then dried. Oh yeah. There you go, 10 grand a bag. So what is that, 40 cents a bag or whatever? Anyway, bottom line is, yeah, I get some of those every day, but yeah, she sells them into the bar and into the restaurant. Now, let's be very clear. This seems weird by an American standpoint and borderline illegal in America. Well, if someone gets sick from the peanuts that are sold from some street person while sitting inside of this restaurant, the restaurant, are legally liable for any damages or any miscellaneous thing that would have happened to you. So, and it would be legal issue. It's gray as hell. In Vietnam, nah, you do you, man. But again, when you think market driven and demand driven, if I or other Vietnamese people go to a regular Quan and somebody comes by offering food that I or they want and we order it, then the owner of the restaurant comes down and is like, you can't order from other people in the street. You can't order from all of these people serving food every minute that comes by. You cannot bring in an ice cream cone. You certainly cannot bring in, food from your own house and then eat it at our place, sir. No, get the fuck out. Okay, peace. Never see you again, sir. I will never eat there again. No way, no chance. I will ever go there again because there's thousands of other places that are totally cool with that. Well, asshole.
Yeah, we had a barbecue.
That's salty snail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Right. We what happened? You tell us. We had a braai. But yeah, you tell me. What was your experience? America.
Yeah. So you invited us to a restaurant, or invited a bunch of people to a restaurant, and suggested that you bring your own food. And we took some meat and grilled the meat. They gave us plates. They gave us the barbecue. They gave us.
They even lit the grill for us.
They lit the grill.
They even gave us the charcoal.
Yeah. They offered to grill it for us.
They offered this. Well,
other people,
once again, this makes perfect sense. This makes perfect sense when you're think about it from a Vietnamese perspective.
Yeah.
Of course they want 20, 30 people sitting at their restaurant for 4 or 5 hours. Of course.
Yeah.
How can we help you, sir? Oh, well, yeah. Certainly. Oh, certainly. I think we did a few cases. Yeah.
They wouldn't mind if you go with your own cake, but it's just good. It's just good to buy something from them.
Right. Well, and we certainly did. I would say half of the food we ate was ours and half was theirs.
Yeah, we still ordered some stuff.
Oh, of course, because
I'm not gonna make rice and lamb.
Oh shit, no. There's no chance I'll be able to make any food at home, buy the ingredients, cook it at home, and then bring it to the restaurant and have it be magically fresher. No way. Or cheaper. No way. And hell, they only want 10,000 a beer. I think they might even only want 10,000. I think, right? So that is what, 44 cents a beer. If I go to the store, maybe I can get it for 42 cents, 42 and a half cents. So, okay. Yeah. Why don't I just buy beer there? Right?
Yeah.
You're not saving money.
And things also, you have a lot of.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. That's a good way of saying it. A lot of fuck it moments.
The lady I buy my beer from, she charges $9, but I just give it $10.
Right.
What am I going to do with $1,000? Sure, if I have 10 beers, I could have one free, but.
So be it.
I'm not going to go broke.
Right. Oh, and that's the mantra. In Vietnam, you'll never be hungry, you never go broke. You'll never get broke, never get hungry. So, but yeah, in that instance, yeah, we had all of our food outside, brought in all of our own stuff.
Yep.
But what was convenient about this is people would come and go and come and go and come and go, and that's totally fine. Because we don't really sit around and worry like, is this going to be on one tab or is it going to be on several tabs? Of course, it's all one shared. That's it. There's no other option. Perfect. If somebody, as they depart, want to toss in 50 grand or 100 grand, all right, sweet. Thanks, bro. If not, what are we talking? $2-3? Meh. Yeah, I'm over it. Some of my friends brought, you and Quentin actually brought your own meat. And you guys, and Quentin especially, he dropped some pretty money on getting some top quality stuff, you know? But yeah, he doesn't owe me nothing for beer, or anything else. So the BYOB and BYOF is definitely a thing out here, and I think that's absolutely amazing. Now, where does this benefit a bar or restaurant? Well, it actually, as far as they're concerned, you bringing in your own drinks and you bringing in your own food is a bonus as far as they're concerned. Here's why. Maybe, like let's say with Uncle Six out here, he doesn't have to have a full-scale kitchen. He doesn't have to mess with it. His wife doesn't have to horse around with this and that. Nah. In fact, they just sell basically beer and drinks and chungkuk. Chungkuk. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But that's about it. And if you want anything more fancy than that, then just pick up the phone and they'll order it in for you. And then you pay those people and whatever, right? So that means that his bar becomes more popular, then more people will go there because they're able to bring their own food there.
Yeah.
So it's a major positive for him. It's less work, and he gets more people there who are more satisfied. If they theoretically have a problem with the food, okay, yeah, it's not his fault. Here's a number of 10 other people, that you could call in. So all of a sudden he gets to have a full service, kind of bar or restaurant without having to actually do anything.
Yeah.
So that's a huge bonus. And yes, if I sat there wanting to charge my cell phone, use his lighter, and he gives me a bucket of ice so that I can drink my beer or my cocktails bought from somewhere else, sweet.
Yeah.
Get it. So totally fine. Okay, so let's switch over to the eggs for a second, and then we'll go with snails here real quick. But eggs. What can you say about eggs? I mean, were you traditionally a big egg eater? How has that changed? How has your opinion of eggs changed since being in Vietnam?
Yeah, I've always liked eggs, but I never really ate like different eggs, like quail eggs and all that. But yeah, in Vietnam, it's very available and it's like a bar snack. So quail eggs are delicious and they're super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Quail eggs, I would say, would be a big change. We don't have a whole lot of these in America. A lot of people, including me, never saw quail eggs once in America ever. But basically, they're like a normal egg, but just smaller than
much smaller.
Yeah, size of a bottle cap.
Yeah, we have them in South Africa, so you can only buy it like joints.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pricey. It's expensive. More expensive than normal.
Okay, fair enough.
Or a small egg.
I'm trying to remember. I think here you get a whole plate of like, let's say 15. Maybe it's 20. I think it's 1,000. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's, okay. Let's just say, so it's about 40 cents, if you want to go ahead and get like a plate of 10 eggs. So yeah, about 4 cents an egg. Yeah. So yeah, you can just be sitting at a bar and then just be snacking it up. Victory is had. Oh, pardon me. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. So that's a pretty amazing thing. Now, along the way, they do have the fetus duck eggs going on out here, which is, I don't know what the balut would be an example English word. Balut, but other than that, they're kind of what it sounds like. The fetus is like 1 to 6 days away from hatching. and you crack her open and go for it. So it's a pretty sweet option, and really nutritious, really cheap. I think you get 3 of them for $1, 3 of them for 80 cents, something like that. But no, they do the job. They fill you right up, and you're good to go.
Doesn't like fetus duck eggs. Like you can see it laying next to the road with just a tray of eggs. It might be fetus duck eggs, or it might be fresh eggs. Yeah, if you don't speak the language, you won't be totally sure.
Right, but they advertise themselves by having a candle, or these days an LED light, outside, because you can take the egg and then a not fetus egg you put over the light. It's clear. A fetus egg, oh yeah, you see it all day.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's how they advertise themselves. They sit there silently on the road, and they at night after 5, 6 o'clock. Right? You could get them during the day, but way less common.
Yeah, no.
But at night, as like that one quick snack as you're driving by. So that's pretty sweet. And that goes a long way. So, yep, those are one. And then they have black eggs as well, which are basically made in 100 different herbs, and tea. So they're actually kept in there for a fair amount of time and aged in there, and then ultimately hard boiled in the tea. So that when they come out, they're black as the ace of spades, Yeah, like a greenish, grayish, the yolk. You like those? I love them, but they're super rich, to be fair.
Very rich, yeah.
Like, it'd be like a spoonful of mayonnaise, like that kind of rich. Like, yeah, except thicker. Yeah, like thick mayonnaise. Yeah. But by themselves, they're a little rough. But if you do food pairings, though, which is the big idea, you're sitting pretty good. What I mean by that is if you're eating other stuff, such as eating this and rice and fruit, and you got peanuts, and you're drinking cold beer.
Yeah.
Sweet. Even I love that stuff, but that's rough. I mean, yeah. Certainly. Okay. Now the other thing, real quick about specialty foods, snails. Snails are a big thing here in Vietnam for a lot of reasons. Yeah. Do you like snails in general, or what's your preference?
Yeah, they're not bad. I'm not a super fan of it, but yeah, they're good. Usually I'm after the sauce more than the snail itself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can find them anywhere. And you get all sorts of different sauces and different coatings and stuff, and grilled and fried. But yeah, the general one is grilled one. They put them on a little skewer.
Oh, okay. Now I know what you mean. So they pull them out of the shelf?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Pretty nice. Little crunchy texture. Yeah.
Right on.
But yeah, I'm alright with snails. I'm not a super fan, but it's super popular.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find it anywhere. It's a quick snack. You can buy it on the street or at a bar or wherever. Fresh, of course.
Right. So it actually the snails we're gonna okay, right here. And I'm gonna write this for y'all. Oh, not that one. They have something called like hot food and cold food. Okay. Now the actual words in Vietnamese are nhiet, which means hot, sort of. It also means temperature. And then han, which means like cold or blue foods or something like that. We could also use other words in English like acid, base, spicy, opposite of spicy. But anyway, the idea is that some foods, such as fetus duck eggs or seafood or snails or clams, are very cold, very han, very blue. And if you sit around and eat too many of them, you could actually get sick, reasonably speaking. Sort of like the same thing, which is a little more familiar, or cay or spicy or hot or red foods. If you sat around and eat only red foods or only hot foods and nothing else to balance it out, you could get sick. Yeah. You know what that sounds like? Right. So in Vietnam, they want to pair these two. not only is the flavor odd to only go hot and not balance it, it's likewise it's odd to sit and eat fetus duck eggs and nothing else with it, no salt, it'd be weird. Yeah. So they do these pairings. So you'll find almost every food in Vietnam to be a blend of differing textures, differing saltinesses, an opposite of spicy mixed with a spicy, things like that, right?
Yeah, I used to
Mm.
Because the first time it will be the flavor profile will be surprising,
Mm-hmm.
and the second time you'll get to enjoy it for what it is.
Do you have any examples of foods that you didn't like at first but now love?
The shrimp paste.
Good. So I'll be right back. But what can you say about that?
Look, Mom. Yeah, so shrimp paste is super strong, a super strong flavor, fishy flavor. If you don't like fish sauce, you won't like shrimp paste. But essentially, it's like shrimp that's been mashed up and fermented and whatever. And on its own, it's super strong. You can't eat a spoonful of it, you'll die. But again, with the food pairing, it works really well with some other dishes. And the first time I tried it, it was way too fishy. First problem, I tried it on its own, nothing else, which nobody eats it like that. When I picked it up, the Vietnamese was like, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, tried it, disgusting. Thought this is disgusting, vile stuff. Why would anyone put this on your food? And they're just dipping food in it. But the second time I tried it in a fresh spring roll. And it was delicious. It added another profile to it. And I was already used to the flavor. I already knew what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I didn't give it the second try, I would never eat it again.
You'd be like anti-Bun Hen forever.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. Right. Well, no, and that's a perfect example right there. That's a perfect example. And to be fair, guys, like, this is going to sound vile for me to say, but Bun Hen, it kind of looks and smells like pink dog shit.
Yeah, it looks pretty disgusting. It smells pretty disgusting.
Yep. You know where there's a Bun Hen place from, a block or two away. Yeah.
It's not easy.
That's right. Now, to be clear though, I would agree that this is absolutely amazing stuff. When it's in the right quantity, when it's paired correctly. Paired. Now, again, Vietnamese people are very serious about their pairing. And, well, to be fair, I think a lot of other cultures are as well.
I mean, if you go to France and you pair their own wine,
sure,
you'll be in some trouble, yeah.
That's right. And I think barbecue sauce in America, by definition, is a pairing. You're going to want to have a mix of a little sweet with
sweet,
a little sour. You got to have your sour, right? You got to have a little vinegar in it by definition. And ketchup, let's just say, by definition, is a little bit of vinegar with tomato paste to give it that little sweet, and then that little sour and savory with some salt, obviously, and probably some sugar. Yep. The definition of ketchup is a pairing of these different things, right? Now, obviously, when we get here to Vietnam, these pairings are going to be different, right? Which would make sense and is a bonus. So you're going to have pairings that you've never thought of, never heard of, and that are just a totally new world, right? Now, real quick with pairings, I did want to say bar food here. Now, in Vietnam, they call it nhau. Okay?
Now the verb to go and
eat and drink.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it is. So actually, they have thức ăn nhau, to be nhau food.
Yeah.
Yep. So nhau is very specifically, in English, we would say, quote, quote, bar food. But I hesitate saying bar food because we in America have a tendency of assuming what bar food is. For example, French, peanuts, let's say. Well, both, all of it. Yeah. We tend to think like peanuts, French fries with salt, go figure. Salty stuff in general. Yeah. Chicken wings would be an American bar food, which is a great choice, by the way. Yeah. So American bar foods, if we look at the flavor profile, generally what we're going to be hitting is going to be spicy. Some in some cases real sour. You get pickles, for example, pickled eggs. Yep. You're going to get some serious sours in there. You're going to, again, your salty peanuts. Hey. Which isn't my experience. It's not too salty, but it's a rich blend.
Yeah,
think beef jerky, by the way.
Beef jerky.
But another level above.
Tried, not cooked. It's quite salty. And I don't think you can find a bar in South Africa that doesn't sell it. Very popular.
Right. So would you say that's a good example of a bar food?
Yeah, bar snack. Yeah, definitely.
Because, and I've actually had biltong here in Vietnam, brought from Brother Henry, different guy. He brought some from South Africa in a Ziploc or vacuum sealed package. Yeah, that worked.
Pairs well with beer.
Oh, big time, big time. Okay. So now again, the word in Vietnamese for this pairing situation and this entire concept is nha, nha. So it's pronounced like this. It's pronounced like this. Nha. Now,
when are you going to the shop? Nha.
When do you want to eat? Right now. That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, examples of these foods, they're going to be completely different from South Africa and completely different from America. If you squint hard enough, you're going to see a similar flavor profile.
Yeah.
Would that be a good way of saying it?
Yeah.
So I'll list an example or two, and then you can tell me an example or two. One example would be sort of like, they call it nem, which would be sort of the equivalent of Spam in America. So if you're talking like pork that's been ground ridiculously fine and ultimately made really, really tight and often wrapped in your plastic banana leaf, like 10 times or something like that.
Delicious.
Oh, high five. Yeah, then, it's what you think it is. So it's not biltong. It's not the same. It's not the same as America, like chicken wings.
If you're in South Africa, think
of okay. Would that be a South African equivalent?
Yeah, it's like a processed meat kind of thing, like a salami, but more fine.
Right. So the Vietnamese folks, when we're sitting around just drinking raw beer and nothing else, that's weird in Vietnam because you can't have just beer without pairing it with something. That's just weird because their whole lives they've paired it with something. Thankfully, almost every single place that has a nha, I can safely say 100% of places that say nha always have some kind of snack ready to go. And this nem, as an example, you could, you can get that any goddamn where. And if the Nyao place doesn't have it, then they're not a Nyao place. But they could also make one phone call, and within 10 minutes, someone will pull up with a bicycle with a whole bag of it, chiclang, and then you got the bicycle people coming by, that, you guys look like you're drinking beer this afternoon at 1 p.m. You should, yeah. You can't just drink beer, can you? Oh, well, we have all that Nyao food right here. And that's true if you're sitting at a restaurant, sitting at your house, sitting in a park, sitting anywhere, the Nyao food will be coming by. So nem would be one. Can you think of another example?
Another line of pairing the bitter fruit.
Oh, with bitter melon.
Bitter melon, yeah. They like pairing that with spring rolls.
Sure.
Fresh spring rolls is like lettuce, maybe some carrots, maybe some pork or chicken, grilled or steamed or boiled.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have a rice pepper wrapper that you wrap it up in, and the bitter fruit, I just call them bitter fruit, goes inside.
Oh, no, are you talking about sour
No.
mango? No. Are you talking the bitter melon that looks like a wagon wheel?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Yep. Yeah, bitter melon. Yeah, I've been bitter melon.
On its own,
Oops.
disgusting stuff.
I will be more polite and say it took some getting used to.
I'll pay someone if they can eat the whole one.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's they call it bitter melon mostly because its primary flavor is
Better.
that's right. But again, when it's paired,
Yeah.
you're doing great. Like if you get a nice salty sauce that goes with it,
Yeah.
if you put it within a soup with like a really kick-ass and complex broth, okay, now we're talking. And then you pour that over, let's say have it with some rice while drinking, cold beer, and then you put these together. Hell to the yeah. This is a beautiful, beautiful blend.
And they have very little things that you eat on its own. Everything's got something that it goes with.
Sure, got to pair it.
Yeah, like if you go to restaurants and you just order one thing, no sauces or anything, you're weird.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree. Yeah, actually on that similar note, when we do go to a restaurant, often people will, what's the word? Everybody shares everything at a restaurant, right? So that means I could order like, let's say, Bun Hen, like skewered pork meat, and then you could order, what would be another example dish at a Quan?
At a Quan, Ganh.
Oh, okay, right, perfect. So a seafood fried rice,
yeah.
Perfect. And then someone else order like grilled asparagus with the miso han,
yeah,
and then the han and doi, like the English, come on now. Oh, like onion and garlic, with your green vegetable kind of combo. Great. So instead of one person eating one dish, all three of us will eat all three dishes at the same time. So it's all, and once again, it comes down to A, the spirit of community, B, it's just a more enjoyable and richer meal.
Yeah.
But once again, the pairing thing, they pair together very well. So if we pair them up like that, everybody wins. If I were to sit there and only eat 10 skewers of pork all at once, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row, I'd be like, in English, you'd say I get meat sweats or I'm porked out or I'm sick of it after about the second skewer. Right. But going to dinyao with a group of dudes, perfect. You hate to dinyao by yourself. You got to go with a buddy and then share up your food. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Yeah, exactly the way.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's change the topics a little bit. And let's switch over to, adjusting your diet when it comes to, let's say, living in America and all the foods there and the normal life there, and then jumping to Vietnam. There's a few main dimensions that get messed up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then
your stomach needs to get used to it.
That's right. And I'll just list a few, and I want your opinion.
Yeah, sure.
One is maybe your primary carb has always been potato, and now you're switching to 0 potatoes, all rice. Well, your primary carb just changed radically. Everything your body is used to before now is gone. And the biodome's set up to be able to digest this. Nope, completely useless. And now you got to switch to a complete, okay? Salt intake is going to switch. Certainly. You're used to pancakes, pancakes, bacon, and eggs, for breakfast. Fuck you. I mean, you could line it up theoretically, but nope. Now you're eating beef soup for breakfast. Salt intake, caloric intake. What times of the day are you eating? What quantity are you eating at each different time? Basically, your entire eating schedule, favorite foods, calorie intake, vitamin intake, frequency amount, everything is all completely washed away. You start over from scratch.
Yeah.
So now that's kind of the overview, and it's worth underscoring that this is a very big deal. You don't just ease your way. I mean, there is a transition that does happen for everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody, to some degree or another, has issues by switching over your entire diet.
Yeah.
Go figure, right? So, you know a lot about this. But what did you say? What came for you? What was your experience? What do you think?
Yeah. Shoot, I don't even remember that one. But I know your stomach and your gut, they need some time to adjust. When we came to Asia first, we went to Thailand and we called it a Thai tummy. It's basically when your body can't decide if it wants to have runny guts or be constipated.
Thai tummy, yeah.
So, and yeah, I think the biggest change was the amount of protein change, like the amount of protein per meal.
Did it go up or down?
Much lower. Back home in South Africa, to chow down on a 500-gram steak is nothing weird. Here, I'll share a 500-gram steak between 6 to 8 people. You'll have a vegetable soup with maybe 1 block of meat in it for flavor, and no meat in your bowl. It's pretty normal. So I think that was the biggest thing, is the adjustment to the amount of protein intake, and then also the amount of rice. Yeah.
And rice-based products.
Rice-based products, yeah.
Mhm.
Because you have your rice, you have bun, which is a rice noodle, you have your bun, which is a rice cake, dumpling, and so a lot of products are made from rice. So that starch definitely gets pushed up a lot higher.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and to use some metaphors here, I mean, maybe it's similar to some people can drink beer, but as soon as they touch vodka, it makes them crazy.
Yeah.
You know, some people like get a hangover every time they drink wine, but if they drink brandy, they're perfectly fine. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone's got a little different. Your liver, it takes time to kind of adjust into things. We could all agree at that. And we could also agree that if you have a heavily protein-based diet, and then you switch to 100% vegetarian all in one shot, and you find yourself eating like 5 kilos of green vegetables all in one shot, just all at once, boom, you know, take that, guts. Yeah, you're going to get the runs. You're going to get Thai tummy. Like, you're going to, oh, yeah.
Your body's going to
What the, right. Now, what is actually happening here, to be very clear, and slightly more scientific-y about it, is that in your, let's say, large intestine or small intestine and so forth, you've actually literally have a micro like biome, you know, like there's series of different enzymes and bacteria that live in your gut system. Now, if you are used to eating one particular type of food and eat that only into perpetuity, your gut system will eventually adapt to that, which is to say, what it sounds like, these individual enzymes and bacteria will multiply based on the demand, you know, based on the kind of nutrition that comes in and that sort of thing, right? All this makes sense. So by radically shifting that, the bacteria that is basically in your gut is not well suited to the incoming new food item. So likewise, so again, if you're going from totally 100% vegetarian, and then you all of a sudden sit down and eat 2 kilos of steak over the course of 2 days, no vegetables, your gut system will be like, we don't have anything to work with this. We don't have anything that can even digest this or attack this, because those bacteria that are good at steak digestion just don't exist. Yeah. So looking at it that way, that's literally what is happening inside of your body. Now, that's true in several different dimensions. Now, how to mitigate this or what to do from here? Well, prep up ahead of time best you can to match your diet, best you can. Now, in my own case, For the 1 month before coming to Vietnam, I go to a China buffet once or twice a day. I fire up that rice cooker every day. I want to start getting not only carbs, but I want to get rice-based carbs into my body on my way in. Yeah, I'll start eating more eggs. I'll try to match the profile of food that I'm about to eat in Vietnam more closely. Yeah, I'll eat more Spam. I'm going to dial down cheese big time. I'm going to dial down my dairy intake. And actually, believe it or not, I upped my beer intake because, again, I want to match what I'm about to do here in Vietnam. So by doing that at least a month ahead of time, it's still a bit of a shock coming here to Vietnam, no doubt about it. But at least it's mitigated by quite a bit. So now I can hit the ground running a little bit more reasonably. Similarly, once I get to Vietnam, I might purposefully, tack in a little more milk than I would drink otherwise. On my normal life, I drink almost zero, just because it's, expensive. Oh, cafe shua hardly counts. Yeah, I'll have a little bit here and there, but that's about it. Okay. And then I'll taper that down where I can. But I want to minimize this radical food shock, left to right, because it's a really big deal. A lot of people just blow past it. Or the worst case is that there's some people who, let's say, come from South Africa or come from America, then boom, go to Vietnam and boom, throw away all American food and all American options and go 100% Vietnamese food. And then magically they get sick. They get Thai tummy, Vietnam tummy. They get totally sick. And then after 1 week, they're like, oh yeah, Vietnamese food, I hate that. My body doesn't like it. Oh, I'm done. I'm never gonna eat Vietnamese food again. Oh. The idiom is you threw the baby out with the bathwater. The food's not the problem, it's your radical shift that's the problem.
And don't be like too adventurous right off the bat. You can try some dishes, but don't just only eat Vietnamese food. Use some of your carbs that you used to from back home. Get a bit more protein into your diet. Those kind of things. Slowly adjust.
Sure. And I would say it's hard to give a number on this, but I would say roughly it takes about a month for your physical digestive biome to catch up. Okay, it takes about that long. Roughly. It's worth mentioning the salt intake thing. They have a lot more salt in Vietnam, in my opinion, than a lot of other areas.
And
you think so?
Yeah, I think a lot of things. I have to constantly, when I order juices and things, tell them no sugar, don't put sugar in.
Okay.
For example, like nước mía, it's sugarcane juice, and then you can add condensed milk and whatever. But sometimes they put sugar with it, which doesn't make sense to me.
I've never seen that, but it depends on where you go, I guess, right?
Yeah, it depends,
Yep.
But yeah, salt content definitely higher. All the broths and things.
All the broths are heavily salted.
Yeah.
Yep. And every, like, you get mangoes, it'll have a little dish of salt.
Yeah.
You have beer, every bar food will have, Meow food will have salt with it.
Oh, what is my thing? Don't you really watch many times? I'm here to learn.
My health issue is sodium. My enemy is commercially processed food. Sauce is on the side for me. No, right on. And by the way, to be very clear, all this is optional that we're talking about. What I mean is, if you were to not be careful at all, and you were to just go off and then just eat every single thing that you see, and whatnot, then that could be potentially rough. Now, are there ways of being careful about it? Absolutely. Could your sugar intake go down to 0 if you wanted it to? Yep. Yeah. Could your salt be 0? It'd be hard, but it's possible. Sure. And whatnot. But actually, believe it or not, switching to MSG and switching to potassium chloride instead of sodium chloride, meaning like potassium salt. Oh, fuck yeah. If you got potassium chloride and then, of course, MSG here, then you're laughing. Mhm.
Yeah, it's all about moderation, right?
Yep. And yeah, Mike, if you have it, because you're hanging here, man, we want to be specific to you, brother. So if you have any particular questions, you're fire away, my friend. We're into perpetuity. Yeah. And let's see. In general, though, on a positive note, I did want to say, and this is kind of as we near the end here, I did want to say that no matter what, Vietnamese food is healthier than American food by a long shot.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I think the biggest problem with our diet back home in South Africa is it's not as well balanced as here. For example, we will have a meal with 3 starches and 2 or 3 proteins. Like, let's say we have a barbecue, we'll have a piece of meat, maybe a piece of chicken or rib or something. Then we'll have a toasted sandwich, which we make on the barbecue, and we'll have some coleslaw or something with cream and whatever. Then we'll have some potato salad. So we're adding like 3, 4 starches into one meal, and we have 2, 3, 4 proteins with almost no vegetables and no fibers. So very starch heavy and protein heavy diet. Whereas here it's a lot more balanced. Every meal will definitely have enough fibers in it, and a little bit of protein and a little bit of starch. Well, rice, a lot of starch, but yeah, much more balanced. As an example, my first year in Asia, I lost about 30 kilograms.
Woo! What is that, 70 pounds?
70 pounds in 1 year, yeah.
I mean,
it's not because I was starving myself. I was still having 3 meals a day. I was still eating until I'm full. I was just not eating 3 proteins and 3 starches in one meal. Just more balanced meals. That's it.
There's a lot to be said about that, I think.
Yeah, it's much healthier.
Right, and I hear that all the time, myself included. I'm a pretty slim fellow to begin with, but when I put on maybe, I don't know, 5, 10 pounds in America, I don't remember. When I came back to Vietnam, 2, 3 weeks. And I bring that up too because, like my wife, for example, she's real sensitive on food, and she's Vietnamese, so that means she's been eating 5-star food her entire life. Like absolutely 5-star, amazing pairings, perfect, skilled, everything. So she's coming from the top of the top of the top. So going to America, it's like, ooh, we'll do our best. But here's what I can say. Oh, Ryan, welcome back. Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah. My bad. All right, there we go. Yeah, now we're started out. Thank you, by the way. Gotta let us know. Yeah, all right. Anyway, okay, so as my wife and she's ultra picky, about foods in general, or sensitive. When we went to America, it's like, yeah, I'll sit down and I'll have like mac and cheese. So far, so good, which is basically noodles and cheese. Go figure, with a bunch of salt in it. And she's like, where's the vegetables? Where's the salad? Where's the magic? Where's the fruits? I don't know. We need something more balanced than this. It didn't occur to me historically, but I was like, oh yeah. In America, we can get away without the 4 food groups or without the food pyramid, and it's reasonable. But in Vietnam, no way. You got to have the mix. Otherwise, it just isn't good, right? So in general, I would say, yeah, the food is more balanced here. Do you agree? Yeah, by a long shot. And you're not encouraged to just sit and eat like an entire tender roast chicken all to yourself. You wouldn't just sit and eat like a pound of meat to yourself.
Yeah.
You just tend to have a little bite. And I think people in general graze in Vietnam way more than America.
Constant grazing, yeah.
Yeah. So an example of that as well is our counterexample is my parents, when they came here to Vietnam, they're stuck on the American way of thinking, where it's just like, okay, sometime between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., I need to sit and have one dedicated meal. That means I order one plate and then I eat that all to myself. Boom, check mark. I am done until 12 noon. Then I eat nothing between now and then at 12. Then I sit down, I go to a dedicated restaurant that specializes in, lunch menu items, sit down there, eat one bowl, and then give that back, and I eat nothing else until 6 p.m. And then I eat it. And I'm like, I forgot that was the American system. Said differently, I'm doing my best to like be cool with my parents, but right after we got done having our breakfast, I'm like, all right, well, let's go get some drinks and food. Let's go be now. They're like, we just ate and we just drank. We're not thirsty and we're not hungry. I'm like, what? You mean what? And I'm just sitting there like dumbfounded. I'm like, oh, I mean, to me, it's natural. Like throughout my entire day from like, again, let's say 7 a.m. until 4 p.m., there's constantly food around at all times, everywhere, at all hours, of all types and all varieties, always. But I'm not going to get full. I'm just going to sit and graze and have like a bite here, a bite here. Yeah. Yep, have a chopstick, or they call it a chen, which is a small bowl. And we're talking small, like, hockey puck. Yeah, I'm just going to have a chen here, and then 20 minutes later, another chen, or, does that sound right to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So how many meals do I have? How many meals do I have a day? I can't really say because I don't count it that way. I don't count them as meals, but I certainly just graze little by little throughout the day, all day long, you know? And so I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just a, regular guy, but I understand that that's generally more healthy than eating one big meal a day. Does that sound right to you? Maybe?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I'm not a health expert, but sure, it sounds healthier to have a few smaller meals during the day than have one or two or three big ones. Then your body doesn't need to store so much energy; it can use it on the go.
Right. Yeah, certainly. So, okay, to address some questions here. Okay, Mike, learning to recognize ingredients with hidden sodium and an approximation of the quantity. Rice is going to be a learning curve too. Yes, let's go there for a second. And I wanted to say, look, if you're going for low sodium, it can be done quite easily. The thing is, by the way, a lot of our American ideas about nutrition so far is based off of American foods. So not all of it's relevant here in Vietnam. Let me say this a different way. Let's see, in Vietnam, just here's some example factors that are different. One, in America, if you're having high sodium food, it's typically high fat also at the same time. For example, cheese is high sodium and high fat. Bacon, high sodium and high fat. Pick your favorite. Chicken wings, high sodium, high fat. Sauce, high sodium, high fat bread. Whereas in Vietnam, not necessarily.
Yeah.
It could be high sodium, zero fat. High sodium, zero sugar. High sodium, zero carb. Like a fish sauce as an example. It has nothing else except for, a little salt, right? So when a doctor is reasonably saying to an American person in American circumstances with American food in front of them, you got to cut down on sodium, what he really means is you got to cut down on sodium and foods that contain sodium because they contain a bunch of other shit. Totally right, by the way. But that may not be relevant when you're in Vietnam because they're not the same foods whatsoever.
Yeah, and most things aren't
right, that's worth noting.
You'll find the broths and things to be a little bit salty sometimes, but it's always perfect because it has to be perfect. As far as banh mi's and things go, I actually add a bit of salt and pepper to my banh mi's because I don't think it has enough. But yeah, everything is not overly salty. I've never tasted something and been like, this is too salty.
Right.
It's always the perfect amount or not enough.
Right. And on top of that, Vietnamese people, their balance, pairing, and profile is key. In America, things tend to be super sweet or super salty or super spicy, and it's hard to have that perfect balance. So again, it's pretty balanced. I did want to bring up another quick other aspect is when you're here in Vietnam, generally speaking, especially Vung Tau, you sweat a lot more, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely do. I mean, if you compare, like, let's say November in the northern part of the United States in America, how many gallons of sweat do you go through in a given day? Okay, don't say 5. Yeah, almost 0, really. I mean, a negligible amount, right? So as a result, your salt intake doesn't need to be high. In contrast, if you go to Vung Tau in August and your salt intake is 0, you will die. You will die. Because what happens is you're sitting there drinking a bunch of water and no salt, good for you, but you don't have enough. So when you're sweating, your body runs out of salt and you die. So if you get and it's an awful death, by the way, feel free to read about it if you want. Yeah, it starts with a headache and okay, whatever. I forget the medical term, hyperhydration, acidosis or something. I forget the word for it. But yeah, you'll die. So if you get an American doctor while sitting in America in the middle of the winter says you need to reduce salt, he's totally right. But if you go to a Vietnamese doctor while sitting in Vietnam, while sitting in Vung Tau, knowing full well the circumstances here, he will say, okay, you still need to get your salt or you will die. And he's also correct. So bear in mind that we're talking about different worlds here, right? Does that?
Yeah, I keep getting dehydrated. My salt. I have to add salt to some things because when it's really hot, you sweat. And you can go through a few liters of water in no time.
Right on. So,
and you can feel when you start getting dehydrated, and then you can't just drink water to feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, the other point number 3, especially related to Mike here, is monosodium glutamate, MSG. In Vietnamese, they call it bột ngọt, which means sweet powder. And they don't have a negative connotation towards MSG because actually it doesn't have one. Yeah, it's just American bullshit that MSG is bad. Okay, cool. Given that, MSG is way more potent than salt, which is to say you need less of it. Like, for example, if a recipe calls for 5 big old spoonfuls of salt, you could do a half a spoonful of MSG and it would do the job. Probably better. So what I'm getting at is they because it's being replaced by MSG, which does not have like the hypertension or high blood pressure effects that normal sodium would. You actually get food that tastes, in many cases, even better, but ironically enough, has less salt than it would otherwise. Even if it tastes salty, it may have less salt than something in America that doesn't taste salty. So that MSG thing is a big deal, in my opinion. Is that?
Yeah, and they use it in all the broth. Yeah, they add it to all the cooking. There's nothing wrong with it. It tastes delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And you're exactly right, Ryan. Yeah. Add salt to water to battle dehydration. Yeah.
Yep. And they sell that, and many times it's actually like, they actually call it chan mui, which means like salty lime. It's what you think it is. Yep. It's like Gatorade, basically.
Yeah, I've seen the white,
yellow.
Milky kind of.
They have both. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen salty water.
Yep. Oh yeah, they sell that everywhere here. Could you find that in America? No way. You can't buy salt sugar water. Give me a Gatorade because the Gatorade's pink or blue. This is actually the color that salt water looks like. Yeah. And it tastes great, by the way. The first time it's a little rough, but okay. Ryan lived off of Tang while in Iraq. Okay. Yeah. And that Tang's not that far away. I mean, that's super sugary, but same concept. Your body needs that stuff. You know, again, if you're sitting in Iraq and it's the equivalent of like a hair dryer blowing in your face, you know, all day long, constantly. Yeah, man, if you do anything less than that, or if you drink straight water only, you die. You know, this is a big deal. So yeah, and it is true that during the summer, things like nukmia, which or sugarcane juice, does have like salt and sugar in it already.
Yeah.
If you got nukmia and you drink some of that chun mui, salty lime stuff, you're laughing. You know, yeah, you're sorted. You know, but anyway, yeah, that salt issue is something to really mention. Now, my parents or a lot of other people get weird stuff like their ankles will swell up.
Yeah, yeah.
You've seen that before? Or has that happened to you? Oh, okay. Yeah, that even happened to my wife when we came back to Vietnam. She's Vietnamese. You know, you got like yeah, cankles or whatever. Right. That does go away once your body gets all sorted out. Like, okay, whoa, okay. Water issue, yeah. We might have like this transition thing. Salt intake's radically changing. Body's got the sweat wall, it's radically changing. And then we're going from few vegetables, like 5% vegetables to 40% vegetables. Bam! We're going from this much protein to that. Plus, on top of all that, the bacteria and general germs that are floating around here. I mean, the whole earth has germs in it by definition. We're breathing germs and
just a little bit.
Right. Like if the cleanest person were to wash their mouth perfectly and then brush their teeth for 30 minutes and then kiss a petri dish, guess what? It's going to have a bacteria profile, right? We all have bacteria, but again, it's different. Yeah, it's a different little mix out here. So when you combine all this together, it's reasonable to get sick.
Yeah.
So once again, trying to mitigate things best you can, taking life slow.
Yeah, I'd say for the first year, I would get sick once a month or once every 2 months, just adjusting to all the new germs, every time I meet a new sick person, I get that germ. And you just have to, adjust to it. Now I haven't been sick in like 2 years. So yeah, you have to adjust.
So definitely a lot to be said. Anyway, along the way, what else can we say about kind of adjusting? We pretty well nailed it out.
Yeah, when we say the salt intake changes, and you have to get used to more salt, there's reason why. For example, like you said, the dehydration. That's why everything you need to have more salt. So you need to adjust to that. Yeah.
The people who cook with zero salt die. Go figure. Yeah, right on. I did want to say something about artificial flavors and artificial quote processed food, packaged food. I do the air quotes thing because I don't like that word processed food because it's really meaningless. Fishing a live fish out of water is a process of reeling it in. Okay, thank you, industrial. You know, because cooking is a process, isn't it? If you take raw, organic, free-range rice from a rice farmer and cook it, that's a process. So is it processed food? Yes. But industrialized? No. Okay. Industrialized. Okay, there we go. It is very, very, very easy in Vietnam to live with perfectly like raw, not industrialized, straight farmer to plate, cow from jungle, organic, free range life to bowl of soup. That is easy and healthy, unpackaged, not industrialized, zero plastic, zero refrigerators, ultra cheap. Food is easy to find in Vietnam. It's super easy everywhere. Again, from your house to work, 200 places. Name it. You know, you got, Vietnamese name it. Yeah. Bantong? No. Mac and cheese? Not one. Nope. Yeah, but whereas I want to be clear that is difficult to find while in America. Meaning, if I'm driving down the highway from Minneapolis to Indianapolis on the interstate, how reasonable would it be for me to find like ultra fresh, never touched a refrigerator, not in a package, straight up organic, free range from the farm, delivered today, alive this morning, food? Impossible. It's impossible. It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't reasonably exist. So, man, I really want to point this out that a normal person normally can get away from the packaged food and this buy now culture and stuff like that very quickly and easily when they move to Vietnam because of accessibility things. Does that sound right to you?
It's much more convenient to get something fresh than packaged, which sounds funny.
But yeah, it's true.
Much more convenient.
So a lot of people lose weight for that reason because their diet changes so radically, not because their willpower is super strong, not because they read more diet books, not because they're being strict on themselves. No, it just magically, automatically happens. Yeah. When you talked about losing, did I hear you right? 40 kilos? 30 kilograms? Were you intending to do that, or did it just magically happen by itself?
Did everything I do every day.
Never starved yourself, never had to.
I never went on a diet. I never tried to lose weight. It just happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just magically happened. Okay, we'll get there. Yeah, well,
thanks for the update.
Yeah. We'll do our best.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to do it. It just happened.
Mm-hmm. So a lot to be said. Now, moving forward a little bit. Okay, let's talk about since you asked, Mike. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here, we'll do one of these numbers. Thank you, buddy. All right, sweet. So anyway, more to the point. Okay, getting Western food delivered in and Western food options. Yeah, and Western restaurants. So to be clear, are there a lot of Western restaurants? I would say so.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would you say about them?
They're okay. It's overpriced for what you get. My personal feeling. Because sometimes you pay it because you want that feeling from home. You want that flavor from home. But generally speaking, it's way overpriced for what you're getting.
I would probably agree with you there.
Yeah.
You know,
it's nice. I mean, it's still good food, but it's just expensive for what you get.
Mm-hmm.
You could, for one meal, you could feed a Vietnamese family for a week, kind of thing.
Ooh.
400,000 dong.
Oh yeah. Yep. Said again, if you want to get a Western style steak, they have it, by the way, no problem. Yeah, they'll sort you out. But yeah, 300,000, which would be the equivalent of like $12, $13. You know, you could sort that out for sure.
For proper import steak at a proper restaurant, you probably pay around 900,000 per kilogram. So if you want a 500-gram steak, that's going to be $450.
Okay. So to put it in dollars, you're talking about $20 a pound, for proper top of the line,
That is good steak.
Yeah, this is top tier USDA, thumbs up, top of the line kind of stuff. So sweet. So can it be done? Yes. Yes, it can. It can. But yeah, it is worth noting that it is considerably, like, radically more expensive. And not 10% more, 50% more. No. It's like 1,000% more.
And from our personal experience, it's not worth it. It was expensive and it was like the most delicious steak I've ever had, but generally it's pretty average, like it's decent. But you don't want decent if you're paying 6 times a normal meal's price for something.
Mm-hmm.
You want superior, you want superb.
Well, yeah, that would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
You know, I certainly would.
Yeah.
You know, at that point. So, said differently, like here's what would be a perfect side by side for you guys. Downtown Hawaii City, and I bring these up because these are like half a mile apart. You know, downtown, you're talking like what? 200 grand for a proper plate of respectable spaghetti with the meatballs and the right sauce done up right, Western food, air quote, okay? So in American dollars, that would work out to be like $8 for a decent meal, which is not unreasonable in America, or certainly not unreasonable in like Denmark, you know, or something, right? Now, 200,000, shit, son. There's a lot of those folks, meaning travelers here, that I bring them out to, let's say, a Bun Hen place, right? You know what I'm talking about? From downtown, right out there to across that little river across
Yeah. The Long Bridge. Yeah.
Where'd you agree? That's like what, 500 meters?
Yeah, 500 meters.
Yeah. Once you cross this bridge, you go into Vietnam land. Oh my God, everything is 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's
Everything on the menu.
Yeah.
10,000.
So literally you can walk in and order all 10 dishes that they have in the entire menu, and that'll be $100,000.
And no one can eat
No. But 10 dishes of food, that means you build your own buffet at the table. Yeah, you build your own buffet, would be 100,000. So that works out to what, $4? So for half the price, you actually get 10 dishes of food versus one. So, man, this isn't close. This is 20 times cheaper to eat Vietnamese versus eating Western. It's not close.
I was trying to think about the price point for the imported food. I mean, you can't directly compare local steak to imported steak because of import costs and customs, and there's a big ass process behind the whole thing. So it's only natural that it costs more. In my opinion, it's just not worth it for the price difference.
Right. Now, a difference here, though, is I did a cheese import store that I went to.
Yeah.
What I mean is I got German imported mozzarella. All right. But I got to buy it by
2 kilograms.
Yeah, 2.5 actually. So what would they be? Rough, the 5-pound brick.
Yeah.
Okay. But by the time I'm done, if I did it in American pounds, we're talking $3 a pound, you know, is roughly what it costs. So that's not too awful.
Yeah.
I could deal with that. You know, I got to buy it in bulk, but that's cool.
What I found is if you buy raw food, like I do a lot of shopping there as well. I buy lamb there. You can't find lamb.
Oh, you mean we were talking about the same import store, right? Okay.
Yeah.
By the heart-shaped lake?
Yeah. So I buy lamb there, and I buy my steaks there, and I buy my cheese there, and cream cheese, and those kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all super cheap. Some of it's cheaper than in my country.
Yeah. I would say that's definitely true.
Yeah.
But the reason being, they don't have to pay American import tax. They don't have to pay the distribution tax. They don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of things they're not paying in order to make this work. So, does it exist? Yes. And if you buy your own individual ingredients, yes. If you go to a Western style restaurant that serves Western style food, you're going to get skull raped, you know, big time. I mean, to put it bluntly, you know. So, okay. Next, I did want to mention these days, not 10 years ago, not 5 years ago, but these days, there's a lot of Vietnamese companies, because they're so agile and they, cater to demands, or they're demand driven. Yes, there's a lot of companies in Vietnam that do specialize in imported food, for sure, which is terrific. What that means is, you could go there. It's kind of like, if you imagine like Amazon.com or Amazon Pantry, but mostly what they deal with is canned stuff, non-perishables. Yeah. So spices, there's that Hanoi-based company that Rita goes through.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Same idea. How does it work? You tell me.
Well, it's online store, pick your spices, package and send it to you.
So if you wanted, let's say, Sloppy Joe mix, could you probably line that up?
I could probably get it, yeah.
Yeah. So if you imagine like an American, how they have the Asian stores in America, I got to air quote this right now, but yeah. then yes, those exist out here. The reason I do the air quotes real quick is a funny story. Yeah, Super 88. Oh, okay. Super 88. Oh, okay, we'll look at that. But funny story, by the way. I was, okay, being an American, I went to Vietnam here, and I was at Big C, and I wanted to make sushi for my friends because a lot of my Vietnamese friends have never had sushi. So you need your nori wrap, rice vinegar, and then rice that's sticky. Not sticky rice, but rice that is sticky. So anyway, to bang that out, and ideally wasabi or something, right? So I'm looking around, couldn't find it. So then I went to one of the employees and I said, "Hey, yeah, xin chào em, yeah, tôi muốn, yeah, tìm, yeah, tôi cần chào á." And she looks at me weird, like, what do you, like, yeah, I want to find where's the Asian food section? You know, and then she looks at me all weird. And I'm like, oh, clearly this bitch doesn't understand my Vietnamese. I'm going to try this again. Tôi muốn tìm thức ăn. Chào á, chào á. And she still looks at me weird. I'm like, em có phải là người chào á không? Aren't you an Asian woman? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, good. We're making progress. God damn it. I want to find the Asian food section. What's up? She doesn't know. I'm like, God, stupid woman. Yeah. And next, talk to the next guy. I want to find it. Nobody could help me. 0 out of 3. And I'm like, man, these guys suck. They're so stupid here. Yeah. And I literally walked around the entire store arrogantly. You know, like, God damn it, I'm going to find this my goddamn self and then show them. Yeah. Then it dawned upon me sometime in there where I'm like, I'm in Asia. Yeah. Even though my Vietnamese was on point, even though my request was reasonable, the wording seemed reasonable to me. From my perspective in America, this question would make perfect sense at every restaurant and every grocery store I go to, Walmart included. This would be a perfectly reasonable question, but is absolutely absurd while sitting here in Asia. You know, so now I always air quote, you know, like, I would like some Asian food. I would like some food, yeah, because here they're like, here we just call it food. I don't know. What makes Asian food Asian? I don't know. Right. So flipping the script, if I were sitting around in America, like, hey, I would like some American food while sitting in a grocery store, they'd probably likewise give me some weird looks, like, I don't know what, anything specific? Tell me more. Even the most helpful person would probably blow me off. So anyway, so quote, you can find American food while in Asia, you know, quite reasonably if you're so inclined. But nevertheless, I do feel like it's important to try to do a 90-10. What I mean is 90% go Vietnamese, 90% Vietnamese, 10% home. I think that's a good balance. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, what we generally do is most of the stuff is Vietnamese, but you do miss some things from back home. So we kind of keep a few things, you know, just to spoil yourself. Things that you really like, things that you really enjoy. So we'll keep some of that, but it's not our main. We don't only eat foreign things. Mostly change into Vietnamese and then a little bit of foreign, just for treat. Yeah.
I think that's a good balance. It really is. Yeah. You know, maybe once a month ish.
Yeah. Like for example, we still like pizza. So we still want to eat pizza, but we'll do it maybe once a month. Get a pizza or something. We still like fried chicken. Fried chicken is good. It still tastes good, but yeah, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months.
I'm a deviled eggs guy. I fucking love deviled eggs. Like, I am a. By the way, I want to be very clear. I am super fucking good at deviled eggs. Like, super good. I'm talking like, you know, the mustard in there. Yes. You know, like, do I cut a hole in the bottom of the bag and squirt it in, do the swirl thing? Oh yeah. I am super goddamn good at deviled eggs, like ridiculously good. I could enter a deviled egg competition easily. I've made deviled eggs in several different styles for Vietnamese people, and they've never even heard of the concept. No idea. There is no Vietnamese word for deviled eggs whatsoever. I tried to translate it, like, and they're like, that. No, I had to translate it as hell eggs, and they're like, yeah. Anyway, but the point is, I can make deviled eggs like a bastard. But here's the thing: it's just Vietnamese enough. Meaning, I can show eggs to a person; they're not going to freak out.
Yeah.
It's not like showing like a snake's head to an American. Like they're going to be like, "Oh, okay, that's eggs. I never saw that particular setup cut in half with the mayonnaise thing, whatever." But sure. And along the way, I can make a variety of flavor profiles. For example, I can add a spoonful of fish sauce in with just a pinch of mayonnaise, which they have here anyway. Add in a little bit of avocado, or add in a pinch of pate, or spice yolked hard boiled. Okay, I could maybe get away with that in Vietnamese, by the way, Mike. But to simplify it, what I ended up doing was I just said like, Western styled boiled chicken eggs, Western style, and people were like, they kind of gave me the thumbs up and went with it. All right, that'll work. Yeah, okay. Anyway, the neat thing about it is if I try to sit around and make like Bun Hen or make a Vietnamese dish, they are mentally going to compare to every other Vietnamese dish they've had their entire lives made by experts forever.
Yeah.
And I will never win that game. However, with a deviled egg, they have nothing to reasonably compare it to other than raw boiled eggs only or fetus duck eggs only. But this is completely, it's reasonable, but it's outside of their normal profile. Right. My wife's father is ridiculously, okay, the word is in Vietnamese, Ken. Yep.
Your wife's mom makes some delicious food.
Okay, right. So Peter was just at my wife's family's house. So far, so good. Oh yeah, and wouldn't you agree? Like,
that's
no joke. Like a mother's effectiveness and awesomeness as a mother is defined by her cooking ability. Like, I can't emphasize enough how seriously they take this. Okay, like a woman getting married who barely knows how to cook is absurd in this country. Yeah, absurd.
Don't do that.
Right. Canon means ultra picky and whatnot. No, this is a good thing and a bad thing, but one big problem was my wife's father, he is super ultra picky. He cannot even go to restaurants in Vietnam. He's like, this squid was dead 4 hours ago. I can taste it. Nope. They didn't actually fry the green onions before making the sauce. They tried to fry them afterwards on top. I can't eat it. This steak was not killed today. It was killed yesterday. I can't eat it. So the man can't eat at restaurants, right? So he is the pickiest individual and the most sophisticated taste that I've ever met in my life. Choosy, I think, would be a better way. There we go. Choosy. However you spell it. But I gave him deviled eggs, and the whole family gathered around because they were like, wait a second, this is the pickiest man that was in this continent, but he has nothing to compare to. Yeah. So he tried one of those, and one bite. Okay, the hard white texture, the soft inside, and then I actually used, like the big old kosher salt. Yeah, Okay, like the large grain salt on it, so it gives that slight crunch on the. Nailed it. Nailed it. That became one of his favorite foods. And then he said to mom, like, hey, can you make this sometime? But she was like, I don't know where he began on this. So the whole family laughed because they were like, the pickiest man that we've ever known in our lives loves, you know, yeah, he loves boiled chicken eggs, Western style. You know, here we go. There we go. So, mhm. And yes, by the way, Mike, he only eats his wife's food. That's right. That's right. Yeah. For years. In fact, the problem is, I got to be clear about this, and I can't emphasize enough how seriously they take this. Mom has to outdo herself every day. Has to, not only does mom have to outdo herself, but she has to outdo every other restaurant and all food available in the whole area all at the same time. Okay? And she has to be, every meal she makes has to be the best. I mean, we're talking the pairings have got to be perfect. The food profile and balance has got to be fucking perfect. The plating has got to be perfect. If you roll these up, but one of them is missing a corner, like the degree that they take this would be like the degree that samurai warriors take their training. Like they are Shaolin monks of cooking. Like they focus their entire day on only this, day in, day out, 7 days a week for 50 fucking years. And they are like 15th generation. They are poor people. They may not be rich. They may not have fancy clothes, no fancy car, no technology of any kind, no Facebook profile to show off, no this and that, but their food rocks. Rocks. This is the one defining characteristic of these people throughout their entire life is this one thing, the quality of food. The level that they take this, I mean, it's incomparable to America and the Western world. Am I on the right point? Do you feel what I'm putting down?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
had something that doesn't taste great anyway.
And shrug it off. Yeah, yeah.
You'd be like,
My grandma decides to make these biscuits out of a box. Yeah, that's cool, grandma. You know, whatever. I get it. You know, yeah, you buy bread from the store, for example. You know, that makes sense. You know, ketchup on top of the meatloaf. All right, that's cool. Yeah, in Vietnam, literally, it happens where the entire family will just fold their arms. They will just sit there with mom's food that she slaved over for the last 3 hours and stare at it at the table. Look at mom, look at the food, look at the mom, and then look at their hungry belly. Ain't gonna happen, mom. Yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing here. I can't say it enough. They take this fucking seriously. Even their family cat. Their family cat is so canon and so picky. The family's cat will not eat the food unless it's plated right, has a nice color combination. You know, so mom will make some food, set it out for the cat. You know, and the cat will, with ribs sticking out everywhere, skinny as all get out, you know, and stare at mom. Damn it. It's not up to the cat's standard. You know, so she's gonna put some fish sauce on it, add a little extra like grease from the pan. Then the cat will eat it. Like, I'm serious. They go absolutely bonkers about food in Vietnam. You know, sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else can you say about that?
And he was saying when he makes deviled eggs, he changes it up a little bit, puts a little bit of fish sauce in it. And I think that's one of the things why I don't like Western restaurants here, because they change the dishes to suit the local palate. So, for example, you'll have a sausage and they add a different ingredient to give it a sour profile or a sweet profile or something that it's not supposed to have. But they need to do that to also sell their food to locals because they are in Vietnam. But me as a foreigner, if I eat something foreign, I want it to taste a specific way. Just like if they eat something Vietnamese, they want it to taste a specific way. So that's one of the other reasons why I don't like foreign restaurants here, because they change the foreign dishes to suit the local palate, which is not a bad thing for the local folks, because they get to enjoy the food as well. But I don't like it because it's different.
Right, and you nailed it right there.
Yeah.
You nailed it. Sometimes it can be good, like the sausage fest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They did it very well.
Where they make sausages here in Vietnam, but they want to make them for both, obviously Westerners and Vietnamese people, but they blend them really well together. But then again, Australian, English, and South African sausage can blend very well with the Vietnamese palate and flavor profile just by itself. You know,
I think the biggest complaint I get from Vietnamese people with the sausage that I make is salty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually, if you have something like a meat, it's quite bland on its own. You're supposed to dip it in the sauce. So if you take my sausage, which already has all the required spices and salt in it, and you dip it in salt, it's not going to be very flavorful.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the by, I did want to mention an opposite problem, okay? And then I'll call this the This is the Hoi An bland food problem. Oh, you smile. You know what I mean? Okay, it works like this. Let's just take normal northern United States people normally have next to zero spice, okay? For example, my grandfather, if he has like a toothpick in a little bit of sriracha sauce and mix that into chili, that's damn near too spicy for him. I have friends of mine that come here from America and they try a little bit of food and I'm like, this has zero spice. Literally, I have zero spice reaction of any kind. I'm like, man, we are just different palates here, kids. You know. So the thing is, when it comes to Hoi An, if we imagine, to be clear, Hoi An on a given night, when I look down one street and if I see 100 humans walking on the street, it's reasonable that 95 or 98 of those humans are all white people from America or the Western world. That's reasonable. So, which is fine. That's what they're doing. So when it comes to a restaurant out there and they want to have Vietnamese food, well, if you're stupid, you don't take that into account. If you're stupid, you just cook it the way your grandfather cooked it, or your mother cooked it, or grandmother cooked it, and you just do it that way. Yeah. But if you're smart, what you're going to do is dial everything way down. This is a Mam Tom's ultra sour pungent dish. Dial it down 90%. This is a fish sauce, MSG, combined with a fair amount of spice and then lime, flavor complexity profile. There's a lot of people that it'll sit at the table. I don't like that. Hey, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. I mean, once again, to be clear, Vietnamese are very demand-based economy, right? So, hey, if their customers demand, effectively bland food, really, if that's what they demand and that's what they need, and that's what they're used to, sweet. Take my grandfather as an example, and I deeply respect the man. But yeah, a lot of Vietnamese food he wouldn't tolerate because he's not open-minded. I don't want to learn shit. I am not here to become a new person. I want to come here and have food that I'm used to, that I'm comfortable with, that I'm satisfied after I'm eating. I don't give a fuck what it costs. I just want to eat and be done. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. And those kind of folks, bless their hearts, I love them all, they tend to congregate in certain areas, and Hoi An is a definite example of that. So if you want to appeal to those kind of folks with infinitely deep pockets and infinite money, and they're your customer after all, well, you're culinarily obligated to dial everything down to the lowest common denominator. That's cool. I totally get it. But the fact remains, by the time you're done with all this, to go downtown to Hoi An and ultimately try some of the soups and lobster bisque or various meals or soups, etc., that they have there. Not every time, but most of the time, on most places, under most circumstances, it's going to be ridiculously bland by comparison. Now, are people going to walk out of there? Other people, not me, going to walk out of there happy? Yep, probably. Are Vietnamese people going to walk out of there happy? No fucking way. No way. They will walk out of there insulted. They will walk out of there insulted. How dare you? How dare you take a food that we love and fuck it up that bad? That's exactly what Vietnamese people are going to think, when they walk out. Like, that was the most worthless. That tasted like licking a piece of paper. That tasted that, yeah, you're going to piss people off. Again, to be clear, Vietnamese people are far, far, far more sophisticated than American people by a long shot. Not 10%, not 20%. They're so different. It's a difference of type. They're playing in a different league, a different sport than American people by a long shot. So yes, it does happen that American or Western people come to Vietnam and sometimes don't like the food because it's so far above and different than what they've ever played.
Yeah, if you come to Vietnam or Asia in general, try it twice. Try it twice. The first time will be surprising to you, whatever. Mm-hmm. And the next time, maybe you'll enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. Oh, Henry, I'd like to say it's also hard for Viet to come to America and have our food too. Yeah. A lot of my friends have trouble with that. Yes. Definitely, man. Yeah, great thing to bring up, Henry.
It's the same thing vice versa. I mean, it's a whole different flavor profile that you're all used to in the Western world. We're all used to in the Western world. But they're not. So, yeah, it's a big change.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely, definitely. So while we're on that same topic, when I brought the missus, my wife to America, we had to bring all that into account, right? In other words, I know because I'm a foodie, so I pay attention to this shit. So I know the flavor profiles in Vietnam. And I know what sort of stuff in general she likes, what degree or percent carbs and vegetables, whatever. She's gonna love this degree of sour, not too sour, but this degree. She's gonna like this amount, this amount, this amount. And so I was able to create dishes that she was surprised to taste, that she's never had in her life, but actually turned out to like. Sort of like father with the eggs thing. A
little bit of something familiar.
Exactly.
Yeah, we tend to like familiar.
That's right. Like, I always traditionally hated mustard, but I love wasabi. So one day I tried wasabi mustard, and I was like, oh, I can get down with that. Yeah, and then I dialed back the wasabi, and then went for the spiciest mustard that they had. Tried that, I'm like, oh, I can get down with that. Yeah, you're damn close, right? And then dialed it back. And then I was like, oh, it's not that I don't like mustard. I just don't like generic ass, bland ass, shitty ass Heinz mustard from American stores. I like every other kind except that. Oh, the problem wasn't mustard. The problem was, these particular, profiles. Similarly, fish sauce. A lot of people in America, their only experience with fish sauce is like a shit ass bottle that would be unsellable in Vietnam. Unsellable. People would never touch it. But these Vietnamese people realize they cannot sell this nasty, nasty shit in Vietnam, but they can send it to America and, oh, it's got a bunch of Asian words on it. That must be good. Yeah. Buy it. Yeah. Same thing happened with Foster's beer, by the way. I couldn't sell it in Australia, so they make some good commercials. Oh man, in America, it's one of like the top selling beers. Okay, yeah. But the problem is a lot of American people will try nasty ass fish sauce, and they'll be like, "This is awful," right? Because they're trying it the wrong way with the wrong food pairings, and they're trying a shitty variety of it, and/or having it by itself, taking the slightest snippet. But that's in the room. I can't.
Yeah,
right.
A good example is
Go on.
I never used to be picky on the soy sauce. Soy sauce. old saying.
Yeah.
Black salt.
Black salt water.
Water.
Soybeans in there somewhere. Oh yeah, if it's too bitter, I mean,
yeah. One for vegetable is different.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Different salt
flavor.
But I never noticed the difference back home. Now that I'm here and I can taste different flavors of it. Different brands.
Right on. Oh, and by the way, Mike, thank you. I wanted to say real quick, your comment is exactly right, man. And thank you. I didn't think of it that way, but you nailed it. Radical change is a high dive belly flop. Gradual change is a dive. Yeah, I like that because it's the same distance. Yeah. But one of them sucks a lot, and makes you hate the water and hate the shit. But the other, you slip right in. Thank you. That's an excellent way of putting it. I'm going to use that metaphor, into the future here. So, man, we covered a heck of a lot of good stuff. Now, I'm going to lay this out for you real quick here again. There's a couple of decent folks. This gentleman, Gordon Ramsay, I think he's a total pussy, Okay, let me rephrase a little more politely. He's a pussy, and he doesn't really get into it. But what Gordon Ramsay is good at is showing the underbelly, kind of stuff. Meaning their film crew does the heavy lifting. He is a total wimp, and he makes everything look scary and weird and hard and difficult. And like even chopping the head off a duck, he's like, this is so hard. How do we do this? I'm a professional chef for 30 years. I'm a professional guy who travels around the earth. And I actually, all I do all day long to make every dollar that I earn is travel around the world and talk about cooking. But I don't even know what's happening now. I can't even cook or chop this one thing. I don't know. Okay, that aside, he still does a great job with this particular documentary or show. And it does really show just 3 or 4 different aspects of Vietnam. And I think that those are real relevant, and they will pair nicely with what we've been talking about here.
I think he also had a Vietnam special, but he's really into like super sour things, super bitter, he likes clashing the flavor profile.
No, which I think is a nice touch.
Yeah.
And he does Vietnam. Oh, I wouldn't doubt. I mean, oh man. Yeah, of course you do. I mean, there is no chance any season of any cooking show on earth, if you pick your topic, if you want to talk about, bizarre foods, it's not complete without Vietnam. No way. Yeah, if you want to talk about like food pairings, it's not complete without Vietnam. If you want to talk street food, it's not complete without Vietnam. Yeah, the world will be in an uproar. It is, so to kind of wrap things up here sort of soon, in general, Vietnam, under many measurements, is one of the number 1, if not top 5, top 10 places on earth for food in pretty much every measurement. Right? Like, what would be an example? How would you say Vietnam is number 1?
Broth.
Oh, the tingle. Yes. Start and stop there.
Yeah.
The broth. I mean, crab soup broth, big bum ball broth, ball broth, the Bun Hen broth. Oh my. By the way, not Zimmerman, what's the other guy that had dinner with Obama in Hanoi? Not Gordon Ramsay. Goddamn. I'll think of it in a moment. Whatever. Bottom line, there's a lot of famous people that have been to Vietnam, famous chefs that come to Vietnam and are just like, you're playing a different sport. you're on a different level. I mean, this 1 to 10 scale, this 1 star to 5 star doesn't apply here. And yes, in this episode with Gordon Ramsay, The Great Escape Vietnam, he actually says when he's on that boat, tastes this broth, and he's like, wow, I've been to the finest restaurants in France. I've been a professional chef for 20 years. I went to chef school. I've been opening restaurants, and I've been getting paid millions of dollars to cook food in England, Germany, France, Italy, across the earth. Here I am on this tiny little boat, rocking up and down the river, hotel, hotel. This is the finest broth I've had in my life. In my life. And this woman, she might be old, missing a bunch of teeth. She might only make $10 a day. I tell you what, though, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. She's got one job. One job. That's it. Her entire life, soul, family, future is based off of one thing.
One bottle of soup.
Her broth. Her broth. Yeah. The duck woman that'll show up in here, yep, she won't share the broth recipe with anybody. Ever. It's not public. Because her entire livelihood, her entire restaurant, everything is based off of her duck broth. So yeah, this is one example. Thank you, Anthony Bourdain. Thank you. Yeah. Anthony Bourdain, he was the man. Yep. And thank you, by the way, Ryan. Thank you for pointing that out, that in South Korea, the street vendors were the same way. I wouldn't doubt you. Yep. And it's rare to be able to pull off this magic, to pull off this perfect blend, this perfect thing. In some cases, it can't be measured. It has to be tasted. There's a lot of fish sauce that gets made out here that cannot be reproduced, cannot be copied, cannot be factory made. Nope. It's based on the enzymes. It's based on the yeast that we have here, the exact profile of microorganisms that live right here in this particular type of fish sauce at this place only, cannot be copied, cannot be reproduced. It only exists here, and it is just oozing with TLC, tender loving care at every second. Our entire family tree and entire livelihood and 20 generations before now and 20 generations after is based on this one thing. That is how seriously they take this in Vietnam. That's how seriously they take this. It's not just a difference of degree, it's a difference of type. It's a difference of level of seriousness, level of nuttiness, level of craziness, level of, I want to weep right now. Just care, soul. You cannot reproduce. You cannot put in a bottle and sell under a brand name. They have no website. They have no logo. Nope.
Yeah. Usually when you use broth, it's like a pre-packaged thing off the shelf, and you're like, this is beef broth. But that's salty beef broth.
Right. The bouillon cube is a nice start. If you don't know what you're doing, bouillon cube is a great choice. Yeah, you will never fool a Vietnamese person. Well, a sophisticated Vietnamese person, you will never fool them. No, sir. Will it be okay for them? Sure. Will it be edible? Sure. Will you fool them? No. Will they ever believe that? No. Right. Can it be done? Absolutely. Can you get a thumbs up? Absolutely. But could you possibly package any form of ramen with infinite money, infinite resources, infinite food scientists, infinite everything? Could you ever create a form of ramen that would fool? That would fool old school, boiled the bones with the bone broth, the whole nine? You will never fool somebody. They're at a different type, a different sport, right? The food, I mean, to kind of wrap up here, the food is a major, major, major reason I love Vietnam. I mean, they care about food. They take food so seriously. It's so close to your soul and heart. It's so important. It's so magical that it changes your soul. It makes you rethink your life. The food is something we do daily. Some of us do it unconsciously. But here in Vietnam, every meal you have can be a spiritual experience. It can make you rethink the world.
Yeah.
And sometimes for the negative, like, how dare you, splash. But sometimes like, honey, I'm not just having a bowl of soup. I'm tasting 300 years. I'm tasting 300 years of your family's passion in one bite.
And then it's a lady.
And it's a lady sitting next to a gas station, missing some teeth, that just mumbles here and there.
Yeah.
She's good at one fucking thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you, by the way, Mike. When Vietnam's attraction dawned on me, the other countries I had considered became uninteresting. We don't have time to get into it now, but I can tell you, nobody holds a candle to Vietnam. Is there good food everywhere in the world? Yes. Can you find good food in Thailand? Sure can. And Taiwan? Easily. Japan? No doubt about it. Yep. You name it. Even in Laos, they got some good meals here and there. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Nobody touches Vietnam. Nobody touches Vietnam.
Especially the ball.
I'm going to cry if I'm going to say that word. Anyway, guys, and men and ladies, men and women, we got to get rocking. But just wanted to give raw from the heart, like how we feel about things out here. And as all you consider coming out here, I hope you've got the open mind and try it all. And like you said,
Try it twice.
Try it twice. Good. Try it twice. Try it thrice. If you're open to it, the food will be the thing that keeps you here. This is a sense of soul. And yes, you do taste 3,000 years of history in some cases. And if you're open to it, this can be the most amazing thing. You could spend an entire day in silence with your eyes closed. And it's a beautiful day. Even if you're broke, even if you're sick, even if you're sad, you've always got that amazing, amazing profile, explosion, and flavor. That's soul. So anyway, take care there, guys, men and women, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Enjoy your night. We'll see you all around, huh? Ladies.